Wendy Bell Radio is live.
Hey, good morning. How's everybody? All right, so everybody, give me an idea. So it's going to be us and Dan Bongino at noon.
I don't know if he's going to noon.
I think he is. I think he's going to do noon to 1. I'm super geeked. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Dan. You know? Can you think about just for a moment what you would have to sacrifice if you were truly going to work in this administration. You really don't have time for a private life.
Well, that was one of the reasons.
You don't really have time. And it'll be interesting. I'm happy for him and I'm grateful to him.
I think probably the hardest thing is that he's a guy that just wants to get things done.
And the bureaucracy is so
tiring.
Slow.
And when you go from saying, hey, I want to get this done, and you work for yourself like he did and build something like he did.
Yeah.
And then you go to where
progress.
You got 75 freaking people you have to go through to get something done. I don't blame them.
Brock and I both want to give
bless them.
We want to give you an update on our friend. If you have essential tremor, call Dr. Simkovich. 412-366-3700.
We're seeing it works.
Our friend yesterday, I talked to her on the phone. Today, she should be there now, getting her last treatment. She described to me how it worked, what Dr. Simkovich did, how he manipulated her palate, how he felt around her head and neck, moved her in certain ways. I said to her, what percentage do you think you're better? Right? I would be geeked if she had said 40%. If she had said 40 to 50%, I would have been like, hot dog.
Yep.
She said 85%.
I know, you texted me right away.
She said 85% and then sent us a video of her hands out like this, which, I mean, if any of us is doing, you'll have some kind of a shake. Almost no shake.
Yeah.
Dr. Simkovich,
I watched it twice.
SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. I can tell you that it worked.
I'm curious to find out if 85% is the top,
or if she can keep getting better. And then she said to me, Wendy, I might be able to get off my meds.
That's just nuts.
And then what do you have to do? Go back once a year for an adjustment? 412-366-3700. The nicest guy you'll ever meet, Dr. Simkovich. He is she told me, she said in the first 5 minutes, he told me 3 jokes.
Yeah.
As his hand is like in her face.
Well, remember when I was there, he's like, you're going to die. And I'm like, what?
So that's one thing. SimkovichConcussionInstitute.com. If you know something is wrong and you know it's somewhere up here and it's not mental, right? 412-366-3700.
Ray Frey said, love Dr. Simkovich. My son and I both went through the treatment. It was amazing.
I'm just telling you. Then
send a testimonial, Ray Frey.
Then number 2.
Radio.
Number 2, last night we had creamy garlic shrimp Alfredo. Beautiful. I'm making the Alfredo. Jack is making the shrimp. He said we should really have some like Cajun seasoning. I'm like, oh, hunt chef. I'm like, eat what you kill. And he's like, what? And I'm like, and I gave him these 2 spices. I said, why don't we put on straight out of Pontchartrain? How cute is that one? And then we'll put on Smoky Bayou. And every time I see that, I want to say Bayou. So, right? I said that so wrong on many times on live television. Okay. These 2. Puts that together with, I don't even know what else.
And he was skeptical.
He was like, this is going to be a lot of salt, I bet. I said, aha, this is where disinfectwithsniper.com is a bonus, because these spices aren't based in salt. It's based in flavor. It was phenomenal. Phenomenal. We put them on the griddle and he got them to be kind of blackened. Oh my goodness. Gravy. Thank God the other kids weren't home. Like, thank God Michael wasn't home. It was just the 6 of us because we wouldn't have had enough. And I had like 3 pounds of shrimp. They were like, so good. Disinfectwithsniper.com tomorrow is the last day. Today and tomorrow, 12 Hunt Chef spices for the price of 10. $100. Straight out the door. So worth it. You got somebody in your life who likes seasoning, who likes doing stuff. You cook.
It's the best gift.
I'm telling
Christmas
you what,
time.
it was, and it wasn't salty. It was perfect. Like, I want to be able to add salt. I don't want to be like, and I love salt. It was so good. Disinfectwithsniper.com. I'm just telling you, 2 walking testimonials, 100%. If you have one, wendybellradio@gmail.com. I'm not hard to find. I'll just say. I'm so excited for our friend. Yeah. 85%. What?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome to your daily dose of facts to fight off the liberal gaslighting.
You can be in the middle of a hurricane.
You have sanctuary in the city of Chicago.
Or you can be on a calm day. North is still north. You could be in a thunderstorm.
I am angry. We are not going back. Not ever.
North is still north. People can yell at you.
The hell with the Supreme Court. We will defy them.
North is still north. It doesn't change fundamental things. And in this business, right is still right, even if you stand by yourself.
We don't get fooled again. No.
Live across the fruited plain and from sea to shining sea, we're converting the Marxist left 1 hour at a time on the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, hello, America. Greetings to all of you across the beautiful fruited plain. Welcome home to the Wendy Bell radio program. I got to say, it didn't take long to pay attention to it. I listened last night, all of about, 19 minutes? Perhaps the most important 19 minutes we could have heard yesterday, as this president is on the cusp of closing the door on year number 1 of his second term. And we're going to go over what he said, why it's important, why it matters, and why a new Quinnipiac poll just dropped that says 18%, 17% now congressional approval for the Democrats. I'm not buying it, guys. I agree that they don't like them. We don't like the Democrats. But I'm going to say, don't believe the polling, all right? I'm going to explain to you why. Wendy Bell Radio, that's the app. That's how you find us, the live video stream all 3 hours. That's where you plug in Wendy Bell Radio when you want to get our podcast, and we're delighted that you're here. I hope you come back tomorrow with a friend. Keep coming back, because we'll be here. Welcome home. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen. You know, we get a lot of conflicting messages out there. And this new poll that's dropped, we're going to kind of pour through it here in, I believe, the second hour. But this new poll from Quinnipiac, it's about 1,000 people. They do about 34% independent, 29% Republican, 27% Democrat. And of these 1,000 people they capture on landline or cell phone, they go through a series of questions. Now, you and I know that there's a lot of bias baked into everything, right? We're all individually biased. How you ask a question of somebody, sort of like leading the witness. You can probably get people to say almost anything or answer any way you wish. We're going to talk about that in the second hour. But I want to jump off of this idea that congressional Democrats have reached a new bottom number on approval, right? A minus 55. That is where Democrats are in terms of approval. That's not just obviously Republicans, independents, liberals, all of them, okay? However, in this exact same poll, when these respondents were asked, who would you trust most to lead the House of Representatives, they pick Democrats. You know, and that just doesn't add up to me. I'm looking at this and I'm like, how does that make sense? How do you on one side say, I'm really disappointed with the way the Democrats have been handling themselves, right? They're 100% anything Trump says, they go against it. They're not out there doing things that matter to you. They're bringing in all sorts of illegal aliens. They're running up all of these programs. And then when they're called on the carpet about it, they're evasive, they're defensive, and then they point fingers somewhere else and play the blame game. Now, how on earth, when you know that the last 4 years created the economic stuff that we're going through now, how on earth would you ever say, my, I'd love to have them back? You wouldn't. You absolutely wouldn't. In 19 minutes, President Trump laid out everything that you are going to hear next year in the march towards the midterms. Yes, he needed to say, look, we inherited a horrible system. We inherited millions of people none of us asked to show up. And not only did these people on the left bring them to our country, they lied to us about even doing the most basic research on who they were, on what kind of diseases they brought with them from third world countries, what kind of criminal backgrounds and proclivities they brought with them, what kind of cultural, cataclysmically different ideals they brought with them from their third world country. And we've inherited that, the president said. It's on my plate. It's on my plate. It's on my desk. So the whole thing is, how do we get these people out? How do we give jobs back to the American people? How do we make America energy independent again? How do we make other countries pay their fair share? How do we get rid of the IRS? How do we pay down the debt? How do we fix the healthcare system that Obama and his friends in the Democrat Party, all of them broke with 0 Republican votes? How do we invest in the next generation? How do we resonate with Generation Z and say, you know what? You need to have a little historical perspective here. And that's what I think we need. You remember in the last administration who the Secretary of Homeland Security was, yes? Alejandro Mayorkas. If you are the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, your number one overarching mission is to secure the homeland. But what did he do? He invaded it. They flew in millions of people from around the world. They let them skip right through Mexico into America, flooding us with 25, that's the number the administration is giving, 25 million illegal aliens. They escorted them across the border. They set them up with parole, which gave them work permits and Social Security numbers and, of course, access to voting in our elections, because that's what it's always been about. And if you and your family got screwed along the way, if one of these illegals was drunk driving and plowed into your daughter and she died, well, so be it. That's what the Democrat Party told you. And if you and your family had to move out of your house because you could no longer afford your mortgage payments because they ballooned under this buffoon of a punitive government under Joe Biden, well, so be it. That's the price of progress, according to the Democrats. The threat to democracy, ladies and gentlemen, is not Donald Trump. It's not the House Republicans. It's not even the morons the Republicans have in the Senate. Many morons in the Senate are Republicans. It's opening the border. That's it. It's not just a threat to democracy. They've infiltrated our freedom. They've stolen from your children. They've bankrupted your grandchildren who aren't even born. And when they're called out, as you're going to hear several people on the left getting called out by the media, when they have an opportunity to say, you know what, a lot of our policies didn't really work, they don't say that. They point the finger to one person, Donald Trump. He threatens to unwind every single thing that's been put in motion since Barack Obama became the Democrats' shiny new metal object. Everything they have tried to do has been bad for you. And Donald Trump last night in 19 minutes said, look, I know we've got things going on in this country. I know there are some prices that are still too high. We have a plan. We have a plan for healthcare. We have a plan for prescription drugs. And then he dropped a bombshell about some huge popular prescription drugs that are going to be coming down in price like now. He announced a bonus for more than 1 million members of the United States military, saying to the men and women that less than 1% of our population that puts their hand up and on the Bible and swears an oath to protect. You deserve this. And the number was no by chance thing, $1,776. It all makes sense. Now, as I'm thinking about this, as President Trump is basically laying his case for the Republicans to win and to win in landslide fashion in 2026, he said, basically, believe in us. The golden age is here. We've put the wheels in motion. We've done the legislative stuff. We need to pass a lot more. Trust us. No tax on tips. No tax on overtime. We're going to keep these tax cuts from 2017. You're going to get those back. You're going to take more money home. We're going to tackle interest rates. We're going to get a new Fed chairman. We have a guy as the secretary of HHS, Health and Human Services, who wants you to have data so that you decide what you want for your children. You don't get options like that with the Democrats. There is no democracy with the Democrats. You get a foreign invasion, skyrocketing inflation, supply chain debacles left and right, and an excuse mill that never stops. You get accelerated crime levels and police bureaus that hide it. You get governors and mayors who are low IQ individuals who believe you're too stupid and you've been too browbeaten by DEI and woke stuff that you won't speak up if they happen to be a minority. But they're wrong. The people that they're going to put out, Kamala, Gavin, J.B. Pritzker, who is going to go up against this president? Who is going to go up against who comes next? And can America survive if they take power again? Well, you're going to hear from the president himself in 19 minutes. We'll boil it down to probably his best 8 sound bites. So you get to decide. You willing to gamble on the guy who's never let you down? Or do you believe Quinnipiac that tells you everybody's super excited for the Democrats to regain control? You decide next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. They had an interesting part of this poll where they're like, all right, so let's have you tell us what you think about several cabinet members. You know, what do you think about Pete Hegseth? What do you think about so-and-so? And of course, they brought up Kennedy. And it's so interesting, like the guy who simply wants transparency. He just wants facts. If you're going to tell us that what you're going to give us is good for us, give us the data so that we can make that decision for ourselves, right? Knives out for this guy. He's the one who's been warning us about a lot of different things, and he's the one, of course, who threatens to upend the entire pharma boat, which is good. And that is given rise to people like the Wellness Company, companies like the Wellness Company. Their ultimate spike detox. Guys, this is something that I think is very important. Anything that offers us some peace of mind to possibly purge our bodies of any of the toxic chemicals they knowingly plunged into so many millions of bodies. I'm going to tell you about it, why you might be interested in it. twc.health/Wendy. That's where you go. And I've told you about the Korean study, right? 8 million people that found that after the COVID vaccine, there was a spike in 6 particular forms of cancer. And they were pretty serious forms of cancer. And they find that this spike protein, which is part of this mRNA nonsense, is what's really wreaking havoc in the body. And so Dr. McCullough and the folks at the Wellness Company that work with him created the ultimate spike detox to cleanse this out of your body. It's designed to help with your body clear the spike proteins, reduce inflammation, and support heart health. So big with natural ingredients, including nattokinase, dandelion root, and bromelain. It is your daily proactive defense from a man-made virus and vaccine. The Wellness Company, twc.health/Wendy. Get 10% off, free shipping just for you. Use my name to get that. Promo code Wendy, TWC, the Wellness Company, .health/Wendy. I really, you know how I feel about that company. I wish you guys, did I ever bring in my monster?
Yes.
They've got like the holy grail of all medical interventions in this one big thing. It's like your ultimate survival kit. Like if the whole world blows up, you're good for a while because it's got everything you need, right? Love it. Love it. You just kind of turn off your worry when you've got that on your side. This is a very interesting poll also that's come out. And it's about how we feel about legal migration, not just illegal, but legal.
I think they just need to put a stop to it right now. Give me a year hiatus.
Let us heal. 100%.
Let me relax.
Thank you. You know? The Biden auto pen presidency was to import as many millions of new Democrat voters from all around the world as quickly as possible to set them up with the perks so that they could stay here, right? We're going to give you food. We're going to give you EBT cards. We're going to give you housing. We're going to give you employment. All you've got to do, it's so simple. All you have to do is vote the way we want you to vote. That's it. You think you can do that? And if you do that, you might be able to bring your abuela, your tia, your hija, all of these people in your family. Well, what the hell? Bring them over to Kumbaya. It'll be one giant familia. Well, when Donald Trump ran for re-election and they tried to kill him, they knew damn well what he was going to do. Day number one, shut down the border, 96% closed. 96%. However you quantify that, that's how it's been quantified. The left wants you to believe that people who don't want immigration willy-nilly from all over the world, you're bad people. You just don't care. What about these people suffering? They're fleeing persecution. Have you no heart? No, I'm just America first, and you're screwing us over. We're paying for it, and these people are not assimilating, and they make our streets dangerous. Well, that's very racist. I don't care. I don't care. Call me a racist. I've been called worse. Bring it. Well, apparently I'm not alone in the thought here, because a new poll, and this is not the Quinnipiac, I believe, plurality want less or zero legal migration. Wait, say what? You mean to tell me that people don't even want folks from like the UK or Sweden or Norway or Canada? Yeah. They're saying close it up. Shut it down. Let America heal. Find the people, get them out, get the jobs back into the hands of the American people, and allow us to recover from the worst 4-year alcoholic binge that anybody has ever been through. We're on the receiving end of the hangover. Let's read this together, shall we? 2/3 of Republicans want legalized migration to be decreased or ended, says a new poll by YouGov. 2/3. In contrast, just 17% of Democrats want legalized migration to be cut back, says the poll of 1,632 citizens, which was conducted December 11th through the 15th. Now, let me ask you, why would Democrats be resistant to shutting down all migration to this country? You are a product of the news you dare to consume. Sort of like your belly is a product of the food you put in your mouth. You get the governance you allow people to steal for and cheat for. And 17% of Democrats seem to at least realize that even legal migration causes major economic ripples and safety issues in this country. But 37% of Democratic voters want more legal migration, as do 6% of GOP voters. Really? Amid the partisan polarization, there is a 2-to-1 plurality for less migration versus more of it. We've tapped out. There's no more room at the inn. Why do you think we can't find affordable housing for people? Well, you don't just ship in millions of people every year and put them places and think that's not going to leave an effect, right? Amid the partisan polarization, 25% said the number should not be changed, even though establishment outlets rarely describe the actual inflow of legalized migrants each year. Under Joe Biden, the inflow of all migrants was roughly level with the number of births. Sort of feels great replacement-y, doesn't it? Oh, come on, Wendy. That's such a conspiracy theory. Nobody's trying to replace anybody with anybody. Really? Did you ever hear your elected representatives, Democrats, work hard for you, to get a job for you, to have affordable groceries for you, to live where you want for you, to have a savings? They don't talk about you. They obsess over Donald Trump because they realize he's the one whose finger is on the plug of the swamp, and he's draining it. So the 26% who favor decreased migration, well, that's the plurality score in the YouGov poll, partly because an unusually large 19% of respondents declined to reveal their preference. I don't want anybody to think I'm racist. Who's going to be seeing this? I don't trust any poll. None. And I'm going to set that up before we even dig into this monster Quinnipiac poll. They do this every quarter or so. How do you feel about the president? How do you feel about the... It is the granular detail that tells you everything. And the number one overarching issue, America has a problem with white college-educated liberal chicks. I'm just going to say. Across the board, it's not the men who are like, yeah, I want 4 more years of what Joe Biden did to this country. It's the women, and it's the white women, and I simply don't understand. There must be only one conclusion, at least in my mind. Somewhere along the way, they get indoctrinated. They become groomed. They become captive. They become co-opted by the left. College and public education, period. Is it no wonder that the Department of Education blew up under President Trump? Oh, my, do we have much to discuss. The president laying out his agenda, laying out his victories, explaining the mess he inherited. It's important, and it's next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. So I was doing some reading. I'm like, okay, so who are they going to trot out in 2028? Still a few years away. Well, if you've got Kamala, you've got Gavin, you've got JB, look at any of their legislative records. So I went into Perplexity, right? The AI search tool that we talk about. And I wrote, tell me Kamala Harris's accomplishments during her years as vice president. This is what it says. Ready? Kamala Harris led the Central America Forward effort, securing over $4 billion in private investments to address migration routes. Have you guys heard anything about that? Was there a report? Did we make any progress? Did the number stop? Did we stop getting people from Honduras and Guatemala and such? No. $4 billion. Where did that go? Who gave that money? Harris facilitated prisoner swaps, including Brittany Griner's release. Right? She also, let's see, she represented the U.S. at the COP28 conference with $3 billion in climate pledges. Oh, goody. She also oversaw parole programs, admitting over 500,000 migrants from those countries with U.S. sponsors, aiming to reduce irregular border crossings. That's code for she doesn't do shite. Never did. It was all to screw us over, essentially. And yet, there's a majority of people who want, or at least a plurality of people who want Democrats to regain control of the House. In what world? I call that fuzzy math, right? Now, I will say what is not fuzzy about the numbers is the value of precious metals right now. And he'll come back and he'll put it up on the screen for you. But Texas Bullion Exchange, this is my company. This is where I buy gold and silver. This is where you get at least the conversation started. There's no pressure. There's nobody on the other end of the line who's like, buy now. You need to do it now. This is only for now. Oh my gosh, limited time offer. You only have 10 minutes to respond. They're like, well, whatever you need to know, we'll walk you through the process. We'll walk you through what it means to get either gold and silver in your hands, coins, bars, buffaloes, rounds, whatever it is, we'll get it to you. Or into your stock portfolio. We could do that for you as well. I'm in. 855-927-5557. 855-927-5557. The value that we have seen in just silver, it has doubled in the year. Doubled in 1 year. Can you imagine? That's like better than Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio.
That's good.
That's pretty good. 855-927-5557. I think you'll be surprised by how regular the people are you deal with at wendylovesgold.com. They are just like you are. Parents, grandparents, they want the same things you do, and they're conservative, patriotic, and they support this president and his efforts the same way we do. wendylovesgold.com. Sorry. What's going on out there? What's going on? Hey, Beck Warney. Is that what it says? I'm going to open this up. Hi, Black Dog, Mr. Black Dog.
You rumble?
What's going? I did. Why?
I was just curious.
1.79. Look at you guys go. Do you think Bongino, well, this is interesting because AA Jazz says Bongino was supposed to make a difference. Total failure. He let Trump down. I'm like, I don't see that.
I don't think he was in a position, to be honest with you, to make a huge difference. He didn't have really any say in what happens. Like, I don't look at him as a failure.
No.
To be honest with you, if I'm Donald Trump, I want him out there during 2026 midterms talking.
Yeah.
I don't want him
100%.
in a cubicle in the FBI. I really don't, because how much can he do? I mean, his hands are, I don't want to say his hands are tied, but like you can only protest so much.
Hi, Tammy. What's going on, Oreo? Hi, Thormac. Good to see you, second mate. Mulligan from Camarillo, California. Hi, Ginge. Good to see you. Hi, 11 Cali and Magnificent 2024. Good morning, Razor. Hi, Greta Bomb Glow. What's going on, babe? Wet Bird. We ended up pretty well yesterday. Let me see, where did we go? Alan sent me my data analyst. Love him. Let's see where we were. Alan, we were number 5. Number 5, we were number 4 in Rumbles, which was great. So, and let's see, we got 90,000 views. Do we get boosted really ever?
Yeah, today we were number 2. I don't know if we still are or not. Let me see.
I love
we're still in the second position.
Hooray. Well, if you are new, welcome. Drop us a line here on the chat. I'd love to hear where you're from. If you're just finding us, if you're going to stick around for a while, I think you're going to like hearing what the president said. We'll boil it down to the nuts and bolts for you, so it's like an easy 30 minutes to digest. But I think what he says is super important. Super important.
I see. I disagree. People saying Dan's going back to his radio show. I'd be surprised if he went back to 3 hours. I think he felt hamstrung there too, to be honest with you.
Well, when you're used to doing like an hour TV show with
Yeah.
producers, I mean, yeah, I could see that.
I think he's done working for other people.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. You know, a lot of people find the president's gushing about his accomplishments. He says, I did that a lot. I tend to use the word we. You know, we is really Brock and myself when I talk about things that I discuss on the show, but it's we, it's you, it's we, right? The president sees it in a different way. And he is the guy who's making the deals. He is the guy who goes to the pharmaceutical companies and says, hey, here's the deal. Either you cut your prices or I'm going to destroy you, essentially. We're going to leave you out of the plans for what's going to happen down the road. Nobody wants to go against him. He is that negotiator. He carves out the insurance companies and he goes right to it. Remember, what did he do? He was talking to Putin and he got on the phone, or he was talking to Zelensky or whatever, and he like broke away and he called Putin. And they're like, Mr. President, it's like a 6-hour time. He's like, call him. Let's go. We need to make progress. Let's make it happen. This is what you get with President Trump. And whether you like or not the way he delivers things, and he has to hit again and again and again, he has an opportunity with a live captive audience, half of which probably hate him because they watch CNN, right? He's like, look, take a step back and look at where we're going. Look at where we've been. Imagine where we are now and consider tomorrow. You really want to go back to where you were? The biggest announcement, I think, was about drugs. It was about the prescriptions. And I want to read this to you before we get into the lion's share of the sound. And the president said, look, I'm doing what no politician has ever done. Trump RX, delivering historic price cuts up to 600%. So he described an unprecedented reduction in prescription drug prices. He outlined basically the Trump RX program, the most favored nation drug pricing. It's going to take effect in January. What does that mean? Trump's comments on Trump RX build on a series of agreements announced since late September that use that most favored nation framework and direct-to-consumer sales to tie U.S. drug prices to what is paid for the exact same medications in other countries. Why are we paying 75% of the world's pharmacy bill? We shouldn't. President Trump said no more. Thank you. And that did not take an act of Congress. So let's see what he did. The prices are under this first agreement he reached with Pfizer. Some Medicaid programs across the states were gaining access to these most favored nation prices. The dermatitis ointment Eucrisa was slated to be offered at 80% off, ladies and gentlemen. Rheumatoid arthritis drug, Xeljanz, 40% off. Migraine medication, Zavzpret, 50% off. And then it goes into the shots for the weight loss that so many people are using and having benefit from. That is a game changer. That is not what you will get on the news tonight. They will not talk to you about that, right? It's all about how he is a threat to democracy. No, he's a threat to the swamp. There's a difference. Whenever you hear threat to democracy, change democracy to swamp, because they're absolutely right. Donald Trump is the singular, most dangerous threat to the deep state. And I love it. Let's get into what he said last night. On affordability, look, this president understands. And I think it's easy to be tone deaf if you're a billionaire and you're not living paycheck to paycheck. But we learned during the Schumer shutdown, the staggering majority of working Americans live that way, paycheck to paycheck. The president said, look, we inherited a mess from the prior administration, but we are making America better. Listen.
Good evening, America. 11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans. This happened during a Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again.
100%. And the most recent poll I just talked to you about in the last segment, you've got Democrats saying they want more migration. In what world do you live? This is why it was so pivotal. And one might argue that last night's speech was among the most important of President Trump's career. He went on to say this: look, because of 25 million people invading our shores, we've had problems with safety. And you and I both know, and we're going to get into it, in Washington, D.C. alone, cooking the books, fudging the data, lying about homicides, calling them what? Carjackings? Domestic disturbances? Please. Here's the president on making America safe again.
We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%.
And yet Democrats are balking at the hits at sea. They're worried about the due process rights of narco-terrorists who want to kill us. I mean, think about that. In what world would you put a narco-terrorist, a drug cartel, a drug dealer on the street, or any of them ahead of the sons and daughters of these United States? And why ever would you do that? Because it's all connected. The borders, the drugs, right? The gangs, Tren de Aragua, MS-13, Cartel de los Sols, all of them connected. Trump cutting the head off the snake and blowing it up at sea. The president continued on the economy. Look, he understands that things are expensive. He needs us to understand that the change doesn't happen overnight. It took 4 years for Joe Biden to put us in the poorhouse. It's going to take more than a few months to dig us out.
We're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22% and in many states 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%. Now under our leadership, they are all coming down and coming down fast.
Democrats want a memory hole the last 4 years, as though if they wave a magic wand or they do a flash like in the Men in Black movies, that you'll all of a sudden forget that the reason why you haven't taken a vacation, the reason you're stressed out about your bills, the reason why you're worried about what age you're actually going to be able to afford to retire is because of what those morons did, whether it be by abject lunacy, because they're stupid, or because they hate America. It's America last. This president says, I hear you. We're fixing it. And it's fixing itself fast. Then he said about jobs. You know, the Biden administration had to lie. They had to go back and review their data, and they had to go back with a big giant eraser and scrub it out and put in the real data. 818,000 jobs had to be corrected one year because they lied to you. You and I were like, look, I don't know where you're saying all of these jobs are coming from, because I can't get a burger at the McDonald's drive-through lane because nobody's showing up to work. What's going on? President addresses it.
First thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens. 100%.
Paring down the federal bureaucracy. Hundreds of thousands of federal workers don't work for the federal government anymore. What were you doing? Because you weren't showing up. But we found it peculiar that the 2.2 federal workers, 2.2 million, somehow had over 4 million credit cards, like debit cards that you and I were paying for. It was like one big drunken frat party. You paid for it, but you weren't invited. And then you were told you had to come in and clean up the mess. I hope Gen Z is paying attention, because all the things that you are feeling are a result not of the president, not of the GOP, but of the Democrats and the auto pen. And the president was just getting warmed up. He's going to talk about bonuses for the military. He talked about the scams run by the Somalis. He's going to talk about what you can expect next year. And that's where Democrats really sphinctered up. What he said and why all of them are out there now fact-checking him. They are scared to death. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Look, and he drops 50 seconds on this. We're going to do this. We've done that. This is what's on the horizon. This is what we told you. Promises made, promises kept. Thank you very much, and good night. It wasn't an hour. It was literally 18 minutes and change. And it was very important. I heard Newt Gingrich say it was probably the most important speech he's heard since Reagan.
I
was like, wow.
I think short, sweet, and not taking away. You guys, I'll say this real quick. You guys might find this hard to believe. When you cut into programming like Survivor and stuff like that, people get. I worked for KDK Radio, and they would call and complain
about
when
the
they
TV.
would cut in for tornado watches that these things weren't on.
Yeah.
So Trump knew going in, I got to be in and out so they can fit 19 minutes. What's that mean? In an hour program, there's 22 minutes of commercials. You think Trump knew that?
I'm going to say it's all very interesting. All right, let me tell you about CB Distillery. So 2 more days, CB Distillery this week, 25% off anything you put in your cart. This is where CBD products are so beneficial. And this is why I like CB Distillery. When I talked to them on the phone before we even got into a partnership together, I asked them to describe the process and what makes you different than other companies. Their rigorous quality controls, there are not necessarily the most stringent quality controls, but there are with CB Distillery. They get an outside third party to come in and audit them to come in and make sure the processes are as streamlined and as smooth as possible, to make sure the product that they're selling you is the cleanest, greenest, safest stuff out there. There's nothing added to it. You're not going to feel all weird when you take a gummy from cbdistillery.com because you want to fall asleep and stay asleep, and you want to wake up and not feel like you got hit by a truck, right? There's no filler put into their balms or their oils that are great for pain relief after exercise. I use it for arthritis pain on my fingers, right? Can't wait. I'm so excited. I hate that, right? CBD, so great. Takes the edge off. And then just for basic stress and anxiety. I mean, think if you could get off the meds that you take that you know have wonky side effects with your body that you feel you need to take so that you can stay in control. What if you could take CBD products instead? Well, you can. You can try them. 2 million satisfied customers, 100% money back guarantee. Try it. You're not 100% thrilled. Get your money back. That's their promise. CBDistillery.com. You're going to use my name, Wendy, to get your 25% off. I like this company. I hope they stay with us for a really long time. You know, best testimonial is I use their products. And they work. They work like blood flow. Oh my gosh, the blood flow stuff that I'm getting from you guys. It's like off the charts. We'll talk about that next commercial break. I love you. What's going on in a pile of hot brass? Nice to see you, Ruth 1953. Hi, Cher. Hi, Wiki Tundra and Tracy Rekus. Or Rekus? I'm sorry, I don't know. Hi, Happy 138 and Jones Ka. Or Janeska. Could be. Hi, 46 did not win. Hi, Griffin Lady. Thormac. I love seeing you guys. Frequent flyers every day. Makes me proud. So the jobs are big, but the bonuses that he's about to drop are bigger. Really big. Trump just gave 1 million military members Christmas.
Yep.
Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I saw some data, I think on CNBC or what have you, about people talking about their holiday spending and the number of people who are spending $1,000 or more this holiday. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, right? Even on the end of getting out of the Joe Biden auto pen years, the inflation, the stagnation, all of that, it's transitory. You got people now willing to spend $1,000 or more on Christmas. President Trump last night in his address to America gave 1 million military men and women their Christmas. Listen.
In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way. Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes.
Merry Christmas, thanks to tariffs. And what did the left do? Oh, it's going to cause trade wars. It's going to cause a stock market crash. No, it's going to give 1 million hardworking men and women a much needed $1,776 Christmas bonus. Thank you for protecting and serving. He goes on to talk about foreign invaders scamming our people, stealing our money, and he focuses squarely on Minnesota.
In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function.
He's calling out not just the illegals who were allowed to do it, but clearly the source of the problem. The people in power who were either too corrupt or too weak to stop it. He went on to talk about next year. And this is just a small little blip, if I'm not mistaken, but it resonates with me. Listen.
When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before.
Ever heard Joe Biden? Have you ever heard Barack Obama stand up before America and celebrate the joy of being the greatest place on planet Earth? Have you ever? I haven't. Before he closed, he wanted to address the housing problem and said, you know what? Hang tight. We're on it.
In the new year, I will announce some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed.
100% talking specifically to Generation Z there. We'll give you back the American dream. And for the president's finale, this is how he closed his address last night to America.
We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation is stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected, and our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will host the World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers, confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe.
The great American comeback. That is what you voted for. And all of the president's closest economic advisors, including the Treasury Secretary, say all of the measures that they've put in place, the decisions that they've made, will reap benefits in 2026 that will blow your mind. Now tell me, do you want Democrats back in power? Or are you willing to ride this one out? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, the heat is on. Well, Ilhan Omar's squirming a little bit, and CNN's hot seat next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I thought he did a great job. Focused, succinct, no weaving, right? If he weaved, it was limited. Okay. How you doing? Hi. All right, so let me tell you about Dr. Richard Rafferty. So what I tell you about Dr. Simkovich helping my friend with debilitating essential tremor to the point where her hands would be like this. And that's not a joke. Brock, is that about right? Right?
Yeah.
Now?
No. Yeah.
What Dr. Simkovich did for our friend and her mind and her brain and her body and all of it She's hopeful. She's happy again. That is what Dr. Rafferty does for people with back pain because of discs that are out of whack. And it's just a product of aging. Things get out of place, things deteriorate. In fact, the lion's share of us will need some kind of a spinal expert in our lifetime. I got a guy. I don't have many guys, but my guys are the best guys. Dr. Rafferty, right? He'll heal you. He'll take away your pain. He'll let your discs grow back. He'll help your discs grow back. He's not going to cut into your back. He's not going to take your blood. He's not going to pinch you with needles. He's got a therapy. Your commitment is in time. It's about 8 to 10 weeks. That is the process. Is 8 to 10 weeks of your life so that every day when you roll over in bed, you don't grimace in pain, or when you get out, you can actually bend over and put on slippers or socks. How about walking straight? How about playing with your grandkids? How about weeding your garden? How about just being pain-free? It's a non-surgical procedure, intra-disc neutrosis. The website says so much. Do some research, investigate. It can help you. 98% successful. 412-906-9600. 412-906-9600.
So something you addressed that I saw people on Twitter saying, that I wish he wouldn't say I so much. I. Let me tell you about the people under him.
They tried to kill him.
Well, not just that. Let me tell you, people under him feel the same way. He gives them the leeway to do what they want. They're not looking for, much like the two of us. Yes, there's just the two of us. But I don't say our show. I say it's Wendy's show. You don't. The point being, he says I. Trust me, everyone under him knows, because they're not the ones taking the bullets.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, they're not the one taking the bullets.
Right.
No matter, she could repeat something I said, right? And she could say, Brock said, doesn't matter. If someone's coming after her, they're going to go after her, even though that's not what she said. So it's the people under him, the people complaining about, he says I too much, have never been in a situation where they're number two. And listen, no one succeeds. Donald Trump will not succeed without all his number twos, period.
He's keenly aware
and
of
he
that.
knows that. Mm-hmm. He knows that. And any good number one knows that.
Don't you think it's interesting, too, that Dan Bongino is the first person?
I don't think he was
I don't believe he was a long-term commitment.
No. And, I know from Sean telling me how hard it is.
Oh,
because you're away from your family. You're away from your wife.
And then he has to travel.
Yeah.
Right? To come home.
He has to well, there's weekends he can't come home because he's traveling somewhere else with the job.
You have to have somebody like the commander.
Yeah. So it's like
boot camp instructor.
It's a big change. It's a big change.
Yes. Okay. Lean, you guys, lean. Who out there is trying this? I want to know who has taken lean. I'd love to get some testimonials about this. This is a Brickhouse Nutrition's offering for dramatic weight loss, dramatic, steady, though measured weight loss. This is one of those products where I think you take 2 capsules and it works as a dietary supplement. So it's crushing your appetite. Yes, but it does more than that. It's got specific studied ingredients selected by physicians. Right? And the physicians know that in order for you to lose significant weight, you can't have blood sugar that's all over the place, right? You can't have drastic swings in blood sugar because of what you're eating or not eating. And so lean helps regulate that for you. It helps crush your cravings and your appetite. That's obviously job number 1. But also it's helping convert your fat into energy. I'm all about that. I've got some fat I could convert. Let's do it. I'd like to do that, right? Let's do that. That is what lean is. And there's no shots. It's not a pharmaceutical product, so you're not giving money to Pfizer. And I totally trust Brickhouse Nutrition, who makes it. Take Lean right now. Take lean.com. You're going to get 20% off if you use my name, Wendy. And look, they say that if you've got 5 pounds to lose, probably not for you. If you've got 30, 40, 50, 100 pounds to lose, how you doing? This is one of those products. Take lean.com. Make sure you throw my name in as the promo code. Get 20% off. That's what I'm saying.
Tried Lean.
You should have tried Lean.
I should have done it.
You think?
Yeah.
In conjunction with what? Working with Dr. Dubiak?
Yeah.
Got a lot of people reaching out to me about this genetic testing that Brock and I have had done. 412-227-9255. We'll go more into detail. That's Dr. Dubiak's number. The best thing to do is call. Call them. See, that's what's beautiful about our sponsors. Like they want this. Texas Bullion Exchange wants you to call. They want to answer the bat phone, and they love when it's you. They're like, yes.
They want you to understand what they're doing.
They want you to have clarity and help. Thank you. Can we get 3,000 rumbles? You guys are doing really well, by the way. But we're only at 239. That's the thumbs up button underneath the video
Dan
box.
can come back, but he doesn't have this.
Oh.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family. She once hosted a 3-hour show in just 15 minutes. She once intimidated the Electoral College to audit itself. Her monologues are so sharp, they're considered a concealed carry weapon. Fact-checker sites routinely issue her a retraction a week in advance. Even her commercial breaks trend on social media. Her freedom of speech has diplomatic immunity. She doesn't just drain the swamp has to ask for cab fare. Wendy Bell is the most interesting conservative woman on radio. Keep rumbling, my friends. 3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know what is so unusual as we reflect on just the greatest hits that we got last night out of what President Trump said to the nation? And he said it to the world. Make no mistake, that was a global address. And that address said, America is back. America is not to be invaded. America is not to be swindled. We're not to be trifled with. Knock it off. We're done. We're climbing to the top of the mountain. We're planting our flag there, and it's not going anywhere. And if you'd like to try and FA, you will FO. Mark my words. I'm starving for that. I don't know about you guys. Starving for that. When in Joe Biden's presidency did we hear him ever say, you know what? Things in America are good. We've got big plans. We're going to do wonderful things. We're going to help you. They barked at you. They berated you. They browbeat you. He stood there. How dare he? As he and his crime family syndicate were counting their millions from China and Russia and Kazakhstan and Ukraine and what have you. He freaking finger wagged you and told you it was going to be a winter of darkness and death, because you weren't obeying the order to roll up your sleeve and take it. Ew! What an absolutely horrible chapter of American history. You know, we're almost like wounded dogs. You've been neglected. They held food from you. They put you in a cage. They kicked you. Right? And now all of a sudden you're walking outside again and you're like, is it safe? Is this true? Is it possible? Is this more BS? Is this more political garbage? No. This is the world's #1 deal maker who said, you know what? It's just not that complicated. But we do have to get rid of all the scumbags in Congress. And I believe, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting to see them for their true colors. Ilhan Omar, with her headdress on last night with Wolf Blitzer over at CNN. I have very big questions about whether this babe's even an American citizen. Can we please find that out? Can we please dig and get those records? No, you can't ask those questions. That's racist. Aren't you tired of being told how discriminatory you are? Aren't you weary of being told how privileged you are? I don't remember my privilege that gets me up in the morning at 2:30 and puts me on the radio to give you the truth. Holidays too. Is that my privilege, or is that the product of hard freaking work and trust earned? Ilhan Omar asked by Wolf Blitzer last night, you know, Congresswoman, it's weird because this Minnesota Somalian fraud stuff that you're in the middle of, shocker. You said, as the cauldron underneath you started bubbling more intensely, you said that ICE pulled over your son and that you insinuated there was racial profiling going on with immigrations and customs enforcement. But it's funny because ICE has no record of your son being pulled over, right? And she said, what to that? Masterclass, gaslighting. Here you go.
The Department of Homeland Security says, and I'm quoting them, ICE has absolutely zero record of its officers or agents pulling over Congresswoman Omar's son, and have accused you of seeking to, quote, demonize ICE as part of a PR stunt, their words. What do you say to that?
Well, if ICE is saying that they have documentation of every single person that they have pulled over in Minneapolis, we would love to see that record because we've certainly, myself and the governor, have been asking them to share information with us on the ways in which they have interacted with Minnesotans, and they have not been able to provide a single information. So it is amazing that they're able to put out this statement in saying definitely that they did not pull my son over when they haven't been able to answer anything else. And ICE has been known to lie when it comes to their enforcement.
Wow. Tell us, Ilhan, with specificity and granular data, because I'm sure you have it if you're going to lob such a giant point accusation against ICE. Share with us exactly why you changed your birth certificate with the Minnesota Legislative Authority there, the library there. Why did you change your birth year? Why did you marry your brother and lie about it? Why and how does one woman in a matter of 4 years go from having a net worth of about $65,000 to $30 million? I mean, inquiring minds do want to know, Ilhan. And if you dare drop the racial profiling card on us, oh my, we're on to your games. That's how Ilhan Omar manages to get by and away with everything she has. Don't you dare criticize me. I'm a protected class. I'm an immigrant, right? I'm a woman. I'm a woman of color. You're also a liar, a cheater, and most likely not an American. Then we move on as Democrats lie about Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth and these strikes in the oceans, and they put all their eggs in the baskets of people from other countries who wish to kill you and your family by depositing a new lethal strain of deadly drugs on the American people. We've got Eric Schmidt, senator from Missouri, walking out of his classified briefing with Hegseth and whatnot, and he hits the cameras that are waiting for him, and he lets it loose. And this is what he says. He says, coming out of the secure chamber where they were able to see the video of the double tap from September 2nd, he comes out and he says, without a doubt, not only did what I see constitute lawful taking out of a wartime offense on the American people, I'm ashamed at the Democrats for lying about it.
I just was in the skiff. I saw the video, and I think the Democrats ought to be ashamed of themselves by trying to slander Admiral Bradley, who was executing a lawful order. The men on the boat were trying to continue their mission. That's the truth. And you got to remember where this started. The Democrats and the Washington Post falsely claiming that there was a kill everybody order. That's false. That's been debunked even by the New York Times. And so, in an effort to protect American citizens from the poisoning that's happened, 100,000 people die every year, we have a vested interest in making sure these narco-terrorists don't kill Americans. And so in this instance, the people and the boat were sunk. And 100% legally justified. Also reviewed the 40-plus legal memorandum that lays out that justification. So if any Democrat comes out here and questions that, they're lying to you. They're lying to you because they don't like Pete Hegseth, they don't like President Trump, and they're willing to throw service members and highly decorated military men and women under the bus. And by the way, encourage people to break the chain of command because they don't like Trump.
It is actually breathtaking when you consider how far the left will go in its depravity to stay in control or to keep the money spigot flowing. Trump's cutting it off. He cut off USAID. He cut off what? Act Blue. He exposed the Smurfs. He exposed the scams. Yes? Without money, without your imported 25 million illegal new Democrat voters, without the trust of the American people who give congressional Democrats the lowest ever 17%, what do you do? Eric Schmidt says this again. He moves on the number of boats getting hit. He says, look, progress is being made in the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea. Don't doubt it. Listen.
To take out the narco-terrorists poisoning Americans.
Is Maduro a key part of that?
Well, clearly Maduro is part of one of these cartel rings. But right now the focus, right now the focus is to blow the boats that are killing Americans out of the water. That will continue. It's also worth noting, based on our briefing yesterday, that activity has dropped dramatically. There is a deterrent effect here. It's hard to find people that want to get on these boats knowing that they're going to get blown up by the U.S. military. So progress is being made.
Progress is being made. We live in a country now where there are consequences for your actions. I am so tired of hearing, well, there's really nothing we can do about it. Say what? What are you talking about? When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, well, it's official. California's done it. Democrats are going to take from the citizens who never owned slaves to give money to people who never were slaves in a state that never had slaves. Because you know that makes sense. Reparations, ladies and gentlemen, on the fast track. Oh, goody. I'm sure California can afford this next boondoggle on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Is that just the... Stop it. Stop it. You know? Stop looking for freebies or handouts. Look, do we all agree that crap happened? And that there was great discrimination and great injustice historically in the world? Yeah, but you know what? Black people had slaves. So let's not all say that the only way to erase the wounds of the past is for white people to give black people money. It's essentially what it is. I'm sorry. No. Good luck, California. I'm rooting for you. I am hot and bothered right now, I'll tell you. So I started, gosh darn it. There we go. So I was starting to tell you guys about Dr. Dubiak and bodybyAIM360.com. There's a reason why we gush about what Dr. Dubiak does. I believe what he does is gives you access to life-changing data, right? One of the things that was hard for me when my mom died was that my dad didn't want to do an autopsy. And I understand. I get it. But there could have been really important information in that autopsy that could have benefited my sister and me and our children. What if there was something going on that was preventable, that could have been inherited? What is it? It kind of shut the door when my mom was cremated. Dr. Dubiak is giving you an alternative. And the genetic test is nothing more than a mouth swab, a cheek swab. For $499, you get 37 pages of your past, your present, and your future. What your parents gave you, what you currently have, and your projection to pass that on to your children. And the key is, in that second to third spot, you have the ability to stop some of these trajectories. If you know you're genetically predisposed to being obese, you can do things to stave that off. If you have proclivities towards alcoholism baked into your DNA, you can do things to stave that off. Not to mention cholesterol, sleep patterns, your propensity to become, to develop cancer. So many different things baked into this genetic test, right? BodybyAIM360.com. It's called AIM Print, right? BodybyAIM360.com. Then there's also the blood test. This is different than the genetic, and it's even less expensive, $79 for new patients only. It's the most extensive dive on you, your hormones, all these biomarkers. Why aren't you losing weight? Oh, did you know? Blah, blah, blah. No, I didn't. Answers to you, putting the pieces of your puzzle together. That's bodybyAIM360.com. Changes your world. Changes your path. 412-227-9255. That's my story.
My brother was real interested on the genetic test.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What did he say?
Asking me what we were predisposed to.
Oh. And you're like, I don't know, clown. Have to go pay for it yourself. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Well, I guess, there's always going to be talk of how people can get paid to do nothing, right? I personally find all victim complexes extraordinarily off-putting. At some point, you create your own destiny. Even Nick Reiner, the son of Rob Reiner, who is accused of slitting his mom and dad's throats and murdering them in past interviews, has come on the record and said you can't blame other people for your addiction. At the end of the day, you're the one who decides what you're going to smoke or snort or shoot up or drink. Nobody else is doing that to you. Accountability. Stop playing the victim card, right? Can we stop it? Can we stop stealing and swindling from people and instead actually go work and earn? Can you imagine if all of the people with all of their amazing fraud schemes would spend just 10% of the energy that they expend swindling all of us into doing something actually honorable, noble, and good? Oh my gosh, right? So we're going to have to beat the dead pinata of reparations forever. Well, let's hear what's going on in California. This is in San Francisco, as the Board of Supervisors there has established a Black reparations fund. The effort to provide reparations to Black San Franciscans is another step closer to becoming a reality after the Board of Supervisors unanimously, and I'm going to roll the dice and say they're all Black. Right? Voted to establish the reparations fund at its Tuesday meeting and move San Francisco from apology to action. Again, you're gonna zing a state where nobody there was a slave to people who never owned slaves in a state that didn't have slaves. Make it make sense. ABC News is going to try to do this the right way. They're going to be like, look, we're going to tell you this is a really good thing. See if they're convincing of you. Here's the little anchor intro to the story. It's going to cost San Francisco. Let's go.
We'll move now to a story we've been following for several years. Reparations for Black San Franciscans are back on the table.
And today, the San Francisco Board of Supervisors passed a measure that would create a fund designed to help Black people who have been harmed by past city laws, including redlining from the 1950s through the 70s.
ABC 7 News political reporter Monica Madden is digging into the story for us. Monica, how much money would be added into this fund?
Dan and Alma, that's the kicker here. As things stand right now, the city is not appropriating a cent towards this reparations fund that might have made it easier to get the board's full support when the city is in a financial deficit. But supporters say at the least this sets up the framework for actual funding in the future.
To do what? To do what? There is no greater time in the history of the United States of America to be Black. There's nobody holding you back. There's nobody saying you can't. DEI has given you an unfair advantage, and it has failed spectacularly. When is enough enough? Well, let's dig into the story, because we've got a Black man here who's all for it. I want you to make his logic make sense. Let's see if you can.
As a descendant of slaves, James Taylor has long advocated for reparations.
My own hands have touched my grandfather's hands, and my grandfather touched his grandfather's hands, and that was a slave. So think about how recent that is, and how economically the empty hands of my grandfather left me with nothing, because the empty hand of his grandfather, who started in slavery, left him nothing.
Left me with nothing. Are you kidding me? You can be anything you want to be. You can do anything you want to do. You can travel anywhere you want. You can buy anything you desire. You can go out and innovate. You can affect people. You can move mountains, dude. But that's not what you want. The story continues. Sounds to me like Democrats are finding a new way to bribe voters who've wandered away from the plantation. Listen.
Taylor says he's pleased San Francisco is revisiting the issue after the city rejected a controversial proposal to pay a lump sum of $5 million to qualifying Black residents in 2023.
This most certainly is different than asking the city to pony up dollars to support reparations recommendations.
Supervisor Shaman Walton's ordinance merely sets up the fund to receive money either appropriated by the city or privately donated.
It's going to take some time. We got to build a pot and then, of course, come up with the criteria in terms of how we're going to prioritize what recommendations we address first. But this is a major first step.
Some of the city's previous recommendations for Black reparations range from assistance with down payments for buying a house, improved access to education, and cash payments.
Are you out of your mind? Yeah. How antithetical to the founding of this country is that? It's a total scam, right? Under the auspices of do-goodery. Oh, if we give you X amount of dollars, can we put this story to bed and never talk about it again? No, ladies and gentlemen. It's a never-ending gravy train. The victim always wants it to continue. It's disgusting. San Francisco can do better than that. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, let's talk about this new Quinnipiac poll that proves why polls are like kabuki theater. Why don't I believe this one? How much time do you have? Let's go next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. This is the hard part of having crappy vision.
I don't know if you guys noticed while watching, the guy they were interviewing.
Yep.
Had a PhD.
Yep.
Were you really held back by your 4 to 5 generations?
Brock, he has nothing. He might have some school debt, but probably not. He probably qualified for all sorts of scholarships.
I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
My grandfather, okay, that's 2 generations. His grandfather, that's 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? I mean, how far do you want to go back?
How much time do you have?
Yeah, right. It just, That's like,
Yep. I agree. It's so vexing because you know what? There are really talented people out there of every make, model, color, shape, size, what have you. And they don't need a handout. They don't need welfare. They don't need a COVID payment. Stop trying to bribe the American people. President Trump awarding 1 million service members $1,776. It's not a bribe. This is, hey, we have extra cash flow. We're going to give some to you because you deserve it. You show up every single day, and we appreciate that. And then you're going to get tax cuts. I hope it all happens. I mean, I'll let you know. My estimated quarterly taxes don't submit that it's going to be enough. Let's talk a little bit, guys. Who do I want to discuss here? Who do we have on the docket? Chef IQ. Yes, I do believe I'm going to be getting Chef IQ and getting it a workout on Christmas. So my son Jack and I are going to create the menu for our holiday dinner. And I think we're going to do 2 different things. So we need 2 different ovens and 2 different Chef IQs, which IQ Sense is all about. This one has 3 prongs. It is wonderful. It is your own personal sous chef, essentially. It's the person who makes sure that you're not fudging up a $200 roast. So we're thinking about getting a giant prime rib. They're pretty pricey. I certainly don't want to muck it up. And so what does this say? What are you making? And it goes through all of your options, right? And so you select prime rib and it's like, well, how big is it? You put in the size. Well, where are you making it? You making it on a grill? Are you doing it in a smoker? Are you doing it in the oven? And you say oven. And they're like, all right, here's what you're going to do. And then it walks you through. You're going to season it. You're going to do this and that. You're going to preheat your oven to blah, blah, blah. You're going to stick in the probe. And then when you're all ready, put it in the oven and hit start. And you're like, I can do that. And then it counts it down for you. You could be in the backyard. You could be at, I don't know, down the street, and you can follow it on your phone. And it's like, this is how much time you need before we're going to start doing stuff. Got 30 minutes to go. Okay. Right? And then you're not guessing. You're not wondering. Chef IQ. ChefIQ.com. This is it. You use my name at checkout, and you're going to get that 30% off. ChefIQ.com, and I'll just tell you quickly because they want me to. The wireless cooking thermometer that takes all of the guesswork out of holiday meals, roasts, right? Your turkey, prime rib, all of it. It changes your, I hope it's done to, I know it's going to be perfect. And that's a big difference. This is it. 30% off. It's a huge time to buy. It is a great gift to give, but it's even better to have for yourself. ChefIQ.com, promo code Wendy. Calm.
Good for smokers, too.
Bone strength. Yes.
That's part. I will say that is life-saving when it comes to the smoker. You're not guessing.
Yeah. Yeah, Brock had never used a smoker before and got a new grill.
I've used a smoker, but not with Chef IQ. And right. You are always guessing.
Yes, you are. Bone strength. You know what? I want to tell you about this because let me see if I've got it here in front of me. I love how they are constantly innovating at Healthy Cell. And this particular one, I've got to find. All right, let me see bone strength.
Ginger, I don't want turkey in my beef. Boyfriend won't eat ham. Sounds like it's time to get a new boyfriend.
Did you guys know that women start losing bone density gradually at about the age of 30? It significantly accelerates during menopause, typically in your 40s to 50s, due to plummeting estrogen levels, which are crucial for bone maintenance, leading to rapid loss, often up to 20% of your bone density in the first few years post-menopause. So Healthy Cell just introduced this new product. It's called Bone Strength. It's a gel supplement that has calcium, obviously, but also several other vitamins and minerals that are key to maintaining strong bones, including vitamin D, K12, magnesium, zinc, and more, all in this one gel pack. It replaces 12 pills worth of supplements. It has a delicious tropical flavor, and it is so much better than those chalky gummies with and calcium chews. And you can get it right now, 20% off. I think it's 20% off your first order. HealthyCell.com/Wendy. I'm absolutely taking it. And the tropical flavor is great. Yes, it's got strong Mango, but also coconut. If you gave me a shot of tequila and told me
I was thinking, put that in like a drink.
Right?
And,
that might be the sign of a problem. I love them. Literally, there's nothing that I haven't tried that I love. Nothing that I've tried that I haven't loved.
there you go.
Thank you. I'll get it out.
Hammered.
Oh. And I think it's funny to talk about polling. It's not funny. It's kind of sad because everything we get is manipulated. Do you believe anything anymore? Especially after the last 4 years. I mean, literally, they lied to you about everything. They lie to you every morning, noon, and night on television. They lied to you in Congress under oath, which is despicable. The border is closed. Everything's great. What missing kids? I don't know what you're talking about. What? But polling is kind of an insidious way to control us, right? Makes you feel certain ways. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe what this president is doing, people don't like, please. How do you have a poll that tells you congressional Democrats are sucking hot wind? And then in the next question, have it tell you that those voters who said House Democrats suck, but they prefer Democrats to regain control of the House. I mean, like, that doesn't make sense to me, right? So let's walk through some of the stuff here. I think it's kind of interesting. And I pulled up this poll, Quinnipiac University. All right. Voters give Democrats in Congress a record low job approval, but still might vote for them in 2026. Like, really? It's like the battered woman syndrome, right? I'm going to keep going back. Why? At what point? At what point do you just run and get the hell away from the cancer that is harming you? This doesn't make sense to me. So let's walk through it together. Heading into a year with midterm elections, 18% of voters approve of the way the Democrats in Congress are handling their job. 18%. While 73% disapprove, which is a record low job approval rating for them, according to a Quinnipiac University national poll of registered voters released today. Quinnipiac, I see they give me a pronouncer, and whenever they give me the phonetics, I screw it up. Whatever. Quinnipiac University first began asking this question in 2009, and the previous low was just in July of this year, when 19% of voters approved of the job the Democrats in Congress were doing, right? In today's poll, among Democrats, 42% approve of the way members of their own party in Congress are handling their job, while 48% disapprove. Now, here's the scary thing, though. The 48% of Democrats who disapprove with the job the Democrats are doing disapprove not because the job they're doing is bad for America. It's not that they're putting all of their eggs in the basket of drug dealers, narco-terrorists, human traffickers, thieves, Minnesotans, Somalians who are robbing us blind. It's not because of that. It's because they don't think the Democrats are resisting Trump enough. It's pathological. Among Democrats, 58% approved of the way the Democrats in Congress were handling their job. 36% disapproved. 35% of voters approve of the way the Republicans in Congress are handling their job, while 58% disapprove. Now, here's what I would say. The next question should be, do you support the idea of term limits? That's what it should be. Why are we sitting here wringing our hands over whether we approve of what they're doing? When was the last time you approved of what Congress was doing, right? Can we please get some fresh blood? Do we have to be stuck forever with the same people who've been grifting off of the goodness and, quite frankly, the blindness of the American people? Among Republicans, 77% approve of the way members of their own party in Congress are handling their job. 77%. That's a pretty good number. So let's talk about this one. That's kind of the head scratcher. So if Democrats don't approve of the job the Democrats are doing in office, why is it possible? How is it possible that 47% of voters say they would want to see the Democrat Party win control of the House, while 43% would want to see the Republican Party win control. That doesn't make sense. Does that make sense to you? Of course not. This compares to Quinnipiac University's October 22nd poll, when the Democrat Party held a clear advantage over the Republicans, 50-41. Or are Americans that stupid? That's a serious question. I don't think so. Or are polls like this in some way distorting things? Well, let's talk about what the most urgent issue is. Given a list of 10 issues and asked which is the most urgent one facing the country today, the top 2 issues for voters are the economy, 24%. No duh. That is what the president ran on and won with. And also, here's this: preserving democracy in the United States. 24% said that. Same number. You mean to tell me that how you and your family are able to afford your lives, how you're able to afford an emergency expense, how you're able to afford possibly sending a child to college, or God forbid, ending your own career to someday retire and enjoy those golden years. You mean to tell me that economics, the affordability issue in America today that we got from the Democrats, they're the ones who destroyed everything. 24% say that's the number one biggest issue. The same number that say preserving what does that mean? What does that mean to you? Preserving democracy. Because preserving democracy to me means identifying and eliminating all of the people who have been ripping us off. Preserving democracy to me means figuring out how the hell Nancy Pelosi got some kind of $150 million investment windfall while she's been in Congress. That means preserving democracy to me. Preserving democracy to me means killing people at sea who are trying to kill us, or identifying all of the Islamic jihadists who want death to America and are poised to make it happen. That's preserving democracy to me. They didn't describe what preserving democracy is, but it is a buzzword. And that is why the Democrats use it all the time. And you're going to hear it coming up. Debbie Wasserman, Wet Dog Schultz, is going to be asked a question about, from, what is his name? Leland Vittert over at News Nation. I like this cat. But he asks her about what's the biggest threat right now in America in terms of this question: Islamophobia or the actual real threat of jihad, some kind of an attack on Americans? And her answer: the biggest threat in America right now is Donald Trump. Okay, so you're going to get preserving and protecting democracy endlessly. Let's go over the two parties, Republicans and Democrats, on the issues. Voters were asked which party they think can do a better job with the top 4 issues facing the country today. Handling the economy. 46% say the Republican Party. 41% say the Democratic Party. In what world is that not an absolute landslide? If we're being honest. What world? In what world do you have more money with Democrats? You don't. Ever. It's not what they do. The word conservative, right, is a whole lot different than the word liberal. But only 5% more prefer Republicans and trust Republicans in handling the economy. Curious. Preserving democracy in the United States. Again, one of these, what the hell does that even mean? 49% say the Democrat Party is better and more trusted at preserving democracy. You know, the party that cheated and stole an election and then installed a guy who clearly was demented, and then used a bunch of unelected bureaucrats and an auto pen to run the government into the ground, open up our borders to 25 million invaders, and create more crime, drug abuse, and all sorts of danger in America than we've ever seen, but by a margin of 8 points. People in this Quinnipiac poll say they trust Democrats more than Republicans to preserve democracy. Got it. How about handling immigration? Should be a landslide, right? Should be overwhelmingly, like huge numbers for Republicans. No, only 5 points, 47% to the Republican Party, 42% to the Democrats. Whoever would trust Democrats with the border? You just lived through the invasion. For God's sake, how about handling health care? Again, make it make sense. I'm going to ask you a rhetorical question. Who ruined health care in America? Bang, 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 Democrats. Correct. How many Republicans voted for the Affordable Care Act? Ready? Ding, ding, ding. 0. That would be correct. Who's freaking out that these Obamacare subsidies are coming to an end? Because they put it in their legislation for them to sunset. Bing, 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 bing. Democrats, again, you're very good at this. So tell me, how is it even possible that a survey of 1,035 Republicans, independents, and Democrats says 51%, overwhelming majority, say the Democrat Party is trusted more on handling health care? In what world? Right? And it goes on and on. The power of the presidency. 54% of voters think Donald Trump is going too far. Too far to what? Using the power of the presidency. This is where the power of the media comes into play. Pay attention to the same talking points that are put out on every single channel and across every single platform. Threats to democracy. That's all you will hear. That's the only way. Threats to democracy and affordability are neck and neck, allegedly, as the top concerns for Americans right now. Now, what isn't being talked about anymore? What are the hot things that they've pushed on us in the past that hasn't really worked? Well, abortion. Nobody's talking about it. Gun control. Nobody is talking about it, right? Why is that? Think about all of the things that the Democrats have pushed on you, that they have ginned up news stories about to try to gauge your ability to be basically co-opted, propagandized. Transgender health. Nobody cares about that anymore. Remember when that was the big rage? And the last one, the bottom of the barrel in terms of objectives, things that Americans care about, climate change. 0 for 4 Democrats. Now, when we come back, there is some more granular data because we need to talk about what Nancy Pelosi just said. Did you hear her interview? She said, well, if Democrats regain control of the House in 2026, they have one objective, and it's not affordability, and it's not about threats to democracy. Do you know what it is? I have the info next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Let's see what they say about the president's military. 46% approve of the military, 51% disapprove. The president's stance on immigration issues, 44% approve, 54% disapprove. Deportations, 42% approve, 55% disapprove. Really, how about trade? Look, 1 million members of the military, because of trade, because of tariffs, are getting a near $2,000 bonus just in time for Christmas. And you disapprove of Trump's moves on trade. Some people aren't going to be saved, friends.
This might be my take, just my take, and maybe you guys agree or disagree with me, but I think the only reason you're hearing Democrats right now screaming and yelling about healthcare is because he shut down other grifts. This is the last grift they have.
100%.
Why aren't they screaming and yelling about Ukraine anymore? Because he said we're done. Europe's covering it. So you don't hear the Dick Blumenthal saying we need
one thing. They're on a wheel.
This is their last grift, their last payment that comes back. Money comes back to DC. Well, no, big money's coming back to DC with these extending the tax cuts or the subsidies. I've already had to sign up. What if they pass something now? You think Highmark's going to be like, oh, we got the subsidies, let's lower your price?
Yeah.
What?
Never.
Please.
Said no one ever. Let me tell you about Blood Flow 7.
Oh, don't forget Alpha Gold Mail, too.
Blood Flow 7 and Alpha Gold Mail. These are both from a company that we trust, that I really appreciate. I've had tremendous success with. I think Brock is doing well. I think you're sleeping well. Are you sleeping like a boulder yet?
I don't think I'll ever sleep like a boulder, but
I do. There's something that's really special about nitric oxide, a molecule I never even really paid attention at all. And in fact, when my friend sent me this bottle of Blood Flow 7 to try, she's like, I think you're really going to like it. I'm like, what's this? Like, okay, whatever. And in the first 3 hours, you feel a difference. In the first 3 days, you're like, okay, what's going on here? That's how serious it is. And people on the stream are reporting, like, I don't check my blood pressure, but they're reporting their blood pressure is stabilizing. They're getting off of their meds, all because of this. Blood Flow 7 opens up your arteries or all of that, so you get more blood into your body or flowing through your body. So more to your brain, more to all over your body, which does what to you? It gives you stamina, it gives you strength, it gives you durability. Wow, Brock's flexing in there. The Alpha Gold Male is for men specifically. It is a male formula. It is for you. It is for your testosterone. So check it out. And you can buy them both. They do like a bundle deal where you can get Alpha Gold Male and Blood Flow 7. And the cost is ridiculous. It's so affordable. Fan-damn-tastic. Bloodflow7.com/Wendy.
Alpha Gold Mail.
Brock's serious about it. Look,
I take it every day.
I don't hear you gush about stuff, which is very important.
I only gush about certain things. Pretty sure there's a pet show on Saturday, so I'm waiting to find out.
I should be around if you want to do a Sunday show. Welcome back to the Wendy Bell Radio program. Before I bounce off of this Quinnipiac poll, and by the way, everything that we do on this show, every soundbite, every news source, everything is listed. I mean, it's really quite a risk if you think about it. It is a radio broadcaster's risk to share basically the rundown and the outline of the entire program before you even go on the air. And we put it out hours in advance. If you're interested in that, go to locals.com and put in Wendy Bell Radio and you'll have access. Okay, so Trump administration officials in this poll gave some job approval ratings for the folks working with Trump. Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., man, knives out. Pharma grift, they don't want it to end. 39% approve. 53% disapprove. What are you hearing about Bobby Kennedy? He's looking into the possible causes of autism. He's identifying, you know what, before you take Tylenol when you're pregnant, you might want to check with your doctor because we see it being counterindicated. You might not want to do that. Away with him! I hate that man, said nobody who's telling the truth. Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, 38% approve, 49% disapprove. How do you disapprove of a guy who's streamlining the military, who's getting recruitment back beyond levels that we haven't even seen in years, right? And who's carving out all the woke mumbo jumbo? Decisive? Yes. I hate that. Away with you, Pete Hegseth. How about Kash Patel, director of the FBI? 35% approve, 51% disapprove. Foiling that terror plot, right, in LA? Damn you, Kash Patel. I don't like you either. It's totally preposterous. Okay? Let's just say what it is. I call BS on the Quinnipiac poll. Anyway, I want to talk about Nancy Pelosi. You know, she says Democrats, they have one thing pretty much that they're going to focus on. Are you ready? Let me see. Nancy Pelosi says that if the Republicans, or rather if the Democrats regain control of the House next year, their number one overarching goal is to impeach President Trump. Brock, I put in the wrong link for that. Would you do me a favor and do a quick search and see if you can come up with a quick headline on that so I could read a little bit? Literally sits down for an interview. The former Speaker of the House, who's made buku bucks just, I'm sure, because her husband, Paul, is really good at the stock market. I mean, that man of mine, I love him. God bless America, right? She says, no. When the House is won again, we're going to impeach President Trump. Why? Why would that be their number one objective, right? The guy who's making things safe and secure, the guy who's bringing down prices, the guy who's gotten NATO countries to pay their fair share, the guy who is bringing most favored nations pricing to your favorite pharmaceutical products, the guy who's carving out health insurers out of your health insurance premium. Who wants to impeach that? The guy who shut down USAID, the guy who essentially shut down Act Blue. Why ever would we want to do? The guy who wants to get rid of drugs from coming to our shores, the guy who wants to find 500,000 missing illegal alien children who were invited to this company and summarily lost by Joe Biden's auto pen, who are doing God knows what with God knows whom, God knows where. Nancy Pelosi says the Democrats' number one objective is to impeach that man. The man who promises a golden age, an economic boon. The man who's brought $17 trillion of investment back to the United States. The man who has said to 90-odd foreign countries, make it 190 foreign countries, if you'd like to do business with the United States, you will stop screwing over the American people. That guy. Who wants that to end? All of the people who've gotten rich making you sick. All of the people who've gotten rich putting you on welfare. All of the people who've become overnight millionaires by mandating that you roll up your sleeve. All of the people who realize that the only way they're going to stay in power is if they neutralize the one man who can stand in their way. That is Donald Trump. Nancy Pelosi, we're going to take him out. Does that speak volumes to you? She didn't say, we're going to make your taxes better. We're going to make your streets safer. We're going to help your kids become smarter. We're going to help you save better. We're going to get out of your way so you can go out and you can do the most remarkable things you've never even dreamed of. Nope. We're going to get Donald Trump. Tells me everything. How about you guys? When we come back, hour number 3, holy moly, where's the time going? For today's lesson on fuzzy math, I got a quick question for you. How much did the DC police cook the books on crime? Oh, my. Oh, my. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I saw you getting nowhere fast, so I thought I would just blow through it.
So the only thing I could find...
It was Western. It's the Western Journal. I got the wrong headline from that. That's why.
Was PolitiFact fact-checking saying she never said that.
Okay. And you know what? It's interesting. Remember the people who voted? Maybe this is something. Maybe I'll wait. Maybe I'll bring this up. I'll bring this up in a minute. I want us to never forget the Republicans who voted to impeach President Trump. For what? For a Russia hoax, right? For the insurrection. Come on. Really? The insurrection that they had to lie about, selectively edit video about, hide 1,700 cameras from, right?
What
They
didn't
had
they
to
lie about?
bribe all of the Capitol police officers, and several mysteriously died. There's a reason nobody talks about Roseanne Boyland.
So, maybe you guys can think of something.
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
What have they said about Donald Trump that has been truthful? I don't know. I can't think of anything where they said Donald Trump did X, Y, or Z, and it's been true. I don't know. She just needs to go away, though. Like, at this point, I don't think we're going to get anywhere on seeing her for insider trading, because by their definition, everything they've done has been legal up until now. They need to pass something, which probably wouldn't be retroactive, but just go away. I mean, that would be enough for me right now, her going away and never hearing from her again. I'll take that as a win for not just me having to edit sound, but also for America not having to put up with her crap. But everything they've done is a lie. I keep going back to and I vent to Wendy all the time about the insurance. It's the only grift they have left. And giving money to the insurance company straight up, is coming back to them. Why are they against Trump saying, give the money to the people? Because the people aren't going to come back and line their pockets to negotiate prices. And they aren't going to give the government the money to say, hey, you should think of us as nice people. Give me the money. Like I said, don't even give me the money. Give me the tax. Let me write off my insurance at the end of the year. That's
Hello?
it. That's all I'm asking for.
Yes, it is.
Let me write it off and
I'm good. It's ready, huh?
uh-oh.
I will be there. Thank you. Bye. So remember when a really lovely listener heard me talking about my son, Chris, who wanted a
yes. Ham. Jersey.
Blunt.
No,
that's
right. Mel
Blunt.
Mel Blunt.
And I love Mel Blunt. So I was like, all right, I'll go and I'll find him a jersey. And then lo and behold, to the P.O. box, I get this bag. And it's a authentic Mel Blunt jersey signed by him. I'm like, what? And I gave it him, and his eyeballs went last Christmas. So it's been sitting in a closet. So I took it to get shadow boxed, and it's ready. I'm so excited.
No, I don't have a Trump watch.
What's a Trump watch?
Someone else has a Trump watch you're wearing. He has watches out. They're pretty cool looking.
Are they?
But the price.
Why? What would be a normal one?
What do you mean?
What would be the price?
I think I saw the one price was $400 or $500. The one I saw. But
what's an Apple Watch?
Yeah, but it does a bunch of things. I mean, this watch just tells you the time.
7,000 people. We don't even have 3,000 rumbles. I would be so grateful if we can at least get to 3.5 today. I don't even think we did that yesterday. Not before we left.
Not before we left.
Not before we left. We have 1,190 on X. It's so great to see you. Thank you for being here. That's terrific. And if you're watching on the app, how you doing? I love you guys. The healthy fat. Let me talk about Dr. Gundry. Dr. Gundry and the Healthy Fat, you know what? I think there are some really phenomenal products out there that are dietary supplements that could do wonders for you if you're on a significant weight loss journey. Look, for somebody my size, significant would be 10 pounds. That would be a powerful amount of money, but weight for me to lose. Some people, it's 50 pounds. Other people, it's 100 pounds, right? That's a lot. It's a lot. The Healthy Fat is what Dr. Gundry invented and created that he says allowed him to lose almost 80 pounds. That's huge. And it's a drink mix. And you put it in water and it absolutely does phenomenal things for your body. First of all, it's delicious. And so you drink it and it's like, I needed a little kick in the pants, a little sweetness, and it kind of quenches you, but it kills your appetite for like 5 hours. So right when you're like, oh, I need to eat something, you drink it and it fills you up and you stay full, and that allows you to skip a meal. That's going to be a huge deal. Fewer calories in for sure. But it works incrementally to basically ditch all of the calories that your body's holding on to. I didn't know my body was holding on to calories. Away with you, right? Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. This is what he does. This is his drink. And he swears, he says, look, I know thousands of people who've had as dramatic weight loss stories as I have. Slow, steady, delicious, safe. Thehealthyfat.com/Wendy. Thank you.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Wendy Bell, America's anchor mom, fighting for America 1 hour at a time. Welcome to the family.
We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with health care and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
3 hours of bold truth and excellence. You've just signed up for the WBR Army. Strap in. This is the Wendy Bell radio program.
Well, welcome back. Hour number 3 of the Wendy Bell radio program is live. You know, I think a very basic thing that parents and children agree on, if you're going to have a good symbiotic relationship in your house, you're going to have mutual respect, kids to parents, parents to kids. You got to trust one another, but there are rules and you got to follow the rules. And the minute you start lying, and the minute you start fudging the data, moving the goalposts, things get very chaotic very quickly. And I think at the end of the day, all parents want to know is the truth. Tell me what's going on. Even if you're worried that you're going to get in trouble, just be honest with me. And that's a very difficult thing for parents and children to do, to develop a relationship where you have those open lines of communication. Shouldn't you have that when it comes to the safety of your community? Shouldn't you be able to trust that the police, who are supposed to be protecting you, are doing that, and that they're reporting to you what's actually going on in your city or your town? That shouldn't be a big ask, right? It shouldn't be beyond the pale. Like, what? You wanted real data, not the cherry-picked garbage that we've manipulated? I mean, this stuff is ridiculous. This was a story of the Biden administration, and it's continued on in our communities, even in the Washington, D.C. area, and specifically with the police. Just tell us. Well, we don't want to be actually found guilty of, letting in millions of people who terrorize our cities, right? We need to lie to you and tell you, no, it's great. But see, they don't know how to make it believable. It's outrageous. It's as outrageous as the Steele dossier submitting that Donald Trump wanted to sleep in a bed that Barack and Michelle Obama slept in and hire prostitutes to urinate on him. I mean, it's just so stupid. You're like, okay, yeah, you could have kind of fished me in on some of this stuff, but that's just so dumb. Now I believe nothing. When you tell people who live in the nation's capital, who literally can't let their children play outside in the front yard for fear of drive-by shootings, snatchings, or what have you, when you try to tell them not only is crime okay, it's gotten better. It's better with Joe Biden in charge. People are like, say what? Well, there's a reason why. They were cooking the books. They were lying about what was going on. We talked about yesterday that Pam Smith lady, a DC commander. The 7 other commanders were like, that lady is a bad, bad person. She's bullying people into telling things on the street, the rank and file cops. Yeah, that looked like a murder, but we're going to call it a domestic, right? When you fudge the data, it's like introducing into your closed science experiment a new ingredient. Everything up to that point is now moot. You've destroyed it. The sanctity of the experiment is over with, and whatever result you have is garbage. That is what we've been living with. So DC U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro, she's talking about Metropolitan Police, MPD, talking about this controversy surrounding the accuracy of Washington, D.C.'s crime statistics. Well, it ratcheted up a bit overnight, right? As the district's top federal prosecutor publicly supported a Congressional Oversight Committee report that released a significant number of crimes have been misclassified in the nation's capital, making violent crime appear artificially lower than it was. You're living a fabrication. At least under Joe Biden. We lived a fake reality. A fake reality where masks were going to keep you safe, right? Where if you didn't roll up your sleeve, you were a bad person. That fake reality that the deck is so stacked against gay people and black people and all kinds of different minorities that we need to artificially change everything around to give them access, privilege. You're on the heels of that. You're still wounded. I get it. Do know this. They've been lying to you for years. President Trump, U.S. Attorney Pirro writes, has reduced crime in D.C. even more than originally thought because the numbers were well worse than we knew. In August 2025, the D.C. U.S. Attorney's Office, she says, began an investigation into MPD's reported deflation of crime statistics. Remember when they came out? And they're like, oh my gosh, breaking news. It's wonderful. Something this Biden administration is doing. Crime is going down. It's like when they were telling us the jobs were through the roof and we're like, yo, I just wanted a quarter pounder with cheese. Is there nobody working at McDonald's anymore? And we're like, these things don't compute. Your math ain't mathin'. Well, after a review of almost 6,000 reports and the interview of over 50 witnesses, it is evident that a significant number of reports had been misclassified, making crime appear artificially lower than it was. The uncovering of these manipulated crime statistics makes clear that President Trump has reduced crime even more than we originally thought, since crimes were actually so much higher than reported. How much higher? Do you want to know? 65%? What? What do you mean? Yeah. Well, DC reported a 28% drop in violent crime in 2024. FBI numbers actually showed a just 2% increase. That's one. What else? Let me get some of the granular data for you. The number of carjackings, they said. We've gotten that under control. They're down by 34%. No, they're not. They're up by 22%, right? The numbers of armed robberies down by 31%. No, they're not. They're up by 30%. How is that possible? Well, when you keep the data, you can fudge the data. Sort of like Cassidy Hutchinson. Remember her? The J6 committee star witness who said she saw Donald Trump lunge for the steering wheel inside the presidential limo as he shouted, "Take me to the Capitol! I must go there!" And it's like, no, that never happened. Well, she went back and changed all of her testimony. Are we all catching on to what's been going on here? Well, Leland Vittert over at News Nation had a Debbie Wasserman Schultz interview. And she came in and sat down in the studios, and he's trying to ask her about a very real threat in this country. And that is the job our law enforcement and FBI, DHS are doing to identify jihadi threats before everything goes haywire, because Joe Biden's auto pen invited everybody over the border, and here they are. So he basically asks her, Congresswoman Schultz, who, by the way, that we know of, has violated the Stock Act in Congress 4 times. But, you know, she's still a sitting member of Congress because that makes sense. Madam Congresswoman, what's a bigger threat in this country? Islamophobia, which is the bogus story we're told. People don't like Islam. That's discriminatory. You must be a racist. Or the very real idea that Muslims, right, overwhelmingly are behind the terror attacks around the country, around the world, I should say. How does Debbie Wasserman Schultz respond? Let's go.
What is the bigger threat to America right now, American values, American life? Islamophobia or jihad?
I think we have to focus, quite frankly, on, if we're worried about the threat to American values, on the person who's in the White House. I mean, we have a president.
Oh, come on. Really?
No,
is that
I'm
where we're
sorry.
going? Come on.
Yeah, I'm going there because we have a president who has completely undermined our democracy, who has.
So you don't see jihad. You don't see this as a problem.
What I don't see is it as a single lens problem. We have a president who has been determined to undermine our constitutional principles, to degrade our democracy, to divide instead of unite us. The responsibilities of our
I have to say, Congressman, you know how much I admire you, and I always appreciate you being willing to come on and discuss things. But we booked you to talk about anti-Semitism and Islamophobia in America. So I'm asking the question.
About Islamophobia.
No, those on the left right now, members of Congress. Okay, Bernie Sanders and AOC today. The normalization and acceptance of Islamophobia in politics is disgusting. Our Muslim neighbors are not Republican scapegoats for anti-Semitic attacks and Trump's failed policies. How Trump's policies laid. Hold on, Bernie Sanders. We must stand together and end anti-Semitism, Islamophobia, and all hate, no exceptions. Mamdani. 1 million Muslims live in New York City. We belong there, as does every other New Yorker. Vile Islamophobia from the councilwoman has no place in our city. What did the councilwoman say? We need to take very seriously the need to begin the expulsion of Muslims from Western nations. Again, Democrats do not seem all that concerned right now about the threat from jihad.
And all she said was exactly what I gleaned from the Quinnipiac poll. When threats to democracy or preserving our democracy are as important, according to this poll, as the economy, inflation, and affordability, Houston, you're being planted a seed of propaganda. Threats to democracy. The threat is not jihad. The threat is not Muslims. The threat is Donald Trump. That is all you're going to hear for the next freaking year. Mark my words. How dare you, Congresswoman? You know damn well what the real threat is. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, you know, breaking up, it is hard to do, but Rosie O'Donnell, she said it. I got to quit Donald Trump cold turkey. Oh, no. Next. That's it. Threats to democracy, 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 democracy. That's all they're going to talk about. It's all they've got. It's one of these nebulous things that can't be defined. Well, what's a threat to democracy? What does that even mean? You know what? I should put that in. What is a threat to democracy?
Democrats.
Ireland Contracting, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. Look, there are a lot of things about southwestern Pennsylvania that are let's just say unfortunate, right? It's called living in a blue city in a blue state. But I'll tell you what, there is some beautiful silver lining on that. And it's called Ireland Contracting. How about being able to have somebody that you can call who come to your house and give you a free estimate on a home exterior construction project? They're not going to embellish it. They're not going to tack on an extra 10% if you live in a nice area. They're not going to try to swindle you. They're going to stand by the work. They're going to guarantee it. And if it's not done right, it will be done right. Period. That is the mission. That is the mantra of Diane and Gary Ireland. Do the best job at the best price and make the best connections with the community so that they keep coming back. Right? 1-800-NEW-ROOF, IrelandContracting.com. I love them. I think they're wonderful. I think you'll love them too. All right, let me see here. Let me see. What is a threat to democracy? Wow. Wow. I feel like we need to get smelling salts out, crack them open, and go like this underneath the nose of these freaking Democrats. Threats to democracy. Well, what's a threat to democracy? Donald Trump? Well, it's not very specific. What do you mean? Oh, Rosie.
Well, when did they ever give specifics?
They don't.
Never. So I told you guys about the guy who I responded to one of his Facebook posts and said, hey, let's have a conversation. You know, like, no, you like Trump. I don't. My people already know that. Well, God forbid that they
Wait,
hear.
I don't understand where you're again. What's the backstory?
So I said yesterday, I don't know if you were in the bathroom, it says, I responded to a guy on Facebook who said, you know, Trump's response to Rob Reiner tweet, you know, if you still vote for MAGA, you're going to lose friends and you're going to do this and you're horrible. And I was like, well, I didn't see you post anything about the way people responded to Charlie Kirk. Why don't we have a discussion? He has a show. I said, I'll come on your show, you know, like, let's have a conversation, civil conversation. And I got a straight up no.
Wait, let me ask you this. Was he commenting on something that you had said?
No.
You were commenting on something he had said.
Yeah.
So this is nobody you know?
No, this is the guy I used to work with.
Oh, okay.
And
Again.
We had that conversation yesterday, sorry. And he just straight up said
and nobody,
no.
okay, yeah. Wow, that's wild.
I was like,
he can't defend himself.
That's it. I don't like Trump. Well, that's not a good enough answer. If you want to spit some facts at me, maybe we can talk. But this is for him.
Rosie O'Donnell looks like she's your hands. You know you were. It's okay. Even if you're driving, just be safe. Put it on cruise control if you're going to rock out. Okay, so I just put into one of my AI search engine tools. I said, what is a threat to democracy? Welcome back to the Wendy Bell radio program. What is a threat to democracy? Okay? So I would imagine that AI search engines then go out and they go through the universe of potential news sources or what have you to aggregate the information. And they provided for me. And it gives me like, okay, click on this link if you'd like to learn more about that, right? So I said, what is a threat to democracy? And it says, threats to democracy include actions that undermine free and fair elections. Okay, well, I would agree with that. Trump is not doing that. When Trump says, you know what? We should only allow American citizens to vote in our elections. That's called constitutional. That's the rule, right? That's what we should be doing. We shouldn't be importing a bunch of people. That would be a threat. I agree. That would be a threat to democracy. It also says threats to democracy include actions that undermine free and fair elections, the rule of law, and institutional independence, such as executive overreach, voter suppression, and the politicization of justice systems. Well, they basically just told you everything about the Democratic Party and what they did over the last 4 years, right? It also says moves that the Trump administration is doing, like suspending voting protections. Do you guys believe that just because you have a pulse and you're over the age of 18 in America that you should be able to vote in our elections? Of course not. So pay close attention to the Democrats. It's a very nebulous threats to democracy. It's based on a feeling. Donald Trump he's dangerous. He's going rogue. His ego is so big. He's going to do whatever he wants. He's going to get us into war. Really? Or is a threat to democracy actually code for a threat to the swamp? That's what it really is. Oh, Rosie O'Donnell, I do feel for her in many ways. She's struggling, but at least she shares her struggle with us. She's very transparent. She likes to put it out. What's her platform? Is she a TikToker or is she Facebook?
I think she's a TikToker.
She's a TikToker. Well, you know, her therapist a few days back, Rosie's therapist told her that she needed to detach from the president, that she was a little too obsessed, a little too reactive to everything, like following everything he did, every tweet, everything, all this stuff. And the therapist was like, whoa, let's tap the brakes. Let's step away from the vehicle. And let's go have a sandwich. Breathe some air. Look at the beautiful Irish clouds in your new land since you fled America under President Trump. And she was like, I can't do it. I can't do it, Captain. I can't step away. Well, yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're interested. There was a break. And I think Rosie's she's in charge now. And I feel better for her. Let's go.
Yes, honey. You know, I saw your thing and I had just come from therapy and my therapist was saying the same exact thing, that, you know, grief is a positive thing to go through with all that's happening now in our country, and rage is not. So to give this narcissist no power is the only thing that's going to affect him. None. Do not say his name. Do not. And I heard what you said loud and clear, and I'm like, good for you. And I love your posts. I think you're very poignant and very inspiring. And thank you for doing them. Thank you.
Rosie is responding to somebody on TikTok who had suggested a blackout. You know, we're going to just, instead of, you know, not supporting Target, not shopping there, or we're going to boycott so-and-so, we're going to call a presidential blackout. We're not going to pay attention to Donald Trump. By golly, we're going to do it. We're going to band together and we're going to do it. We're going to do it for days. Yes, it's going to be glorious. It's going to be liberating. Don't give him the power. He wants you to be obsessed with him. Well, the bummer of it is he really doesn't care. He really doesn't care. Rosie, I wish you Godspeed, and I wish that you weren't completely enraptured with everything that he was doing. And this is why when we hear from psychologists and psychiatrists that they're seeing a serious uptick in the number of patients with one would call Trump derangement syndrome. I hope this quitting cold turkey. Rosie, good luck to you. America is with you. Godspeed. When we come back on the Wendy Bell radio program, my Lord, when racism is the last card in your deck, where do you go when it's not winning any more tricks? Well, we'll ask Fonnie Willis in the hot seat next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. I'm going to quit too. Thank you very much for telling me that. You're right. Oh, somebody's calling Brock. All right, what have I not talked about? Let's make sure. Kelly Morgan and Morgan's Fitness. Let's see. Do I have any of my old photos in here? This one always just wows me. This one and this woman. Like, okay. So, okay. How many times do you feel bloated and like a giant blob in your gut? And you're like, ugh. Feels like you've parked a, pound of bread in there and you're like, oh my God, this is how I would feel. Right? Look at this. Look at the before and after. Look at her. Look at the after. 90 days. Are you kidding me? 90 days and you lost the squish belly in favor of that. That's like inches off your waistline. And can you imagine what that means around here when you've got the back bra? You've got the back boob back there, or things spilling out of you, or the right there. 90 days. Kelly Morgan's like, look, I've got it. I know the drill. I know how you should eat. I know how you should exercise. I'm going to spell it all out for you. All you have to do is show up, do what I say, and 90 days later say thank you. What? That's the 90 Ignite Challenge. And you can do this now. It's all nationwide, all online. Go to Morgain's Fitness, MORGAINZ fitness.com. Click the button and she'll be like, you really want to do this? And you say, yes, I do. By Valentine's Day. St. Patrick's Day. You're going to look like this. Look at her. Look at this. Before and after. This is crazy. Can you imagine standing there and having somebody take a picture of you in a bathing suit? Oh, thank you. Wow. Brock just showed me how I look after I eat. That is so rude. There's the before and then there's the after.
Oh, that picture will never get old.
I'm telling you what, once you've had twins and your stomach has been this big, right? You look at a morsel of food and it's like, boing. It's true.
You got to drive past the donut holes every day.
Oh, my goodness. That's a challenge.
That's okay. It looks, mine looks the same before I eat and after I eat. So
morgainsfitness.com, MORGAINZ. It's a bummer though. Like if we were to go to a black tie event, if we were like, come on, darling, let's go to a gala, and you put on a tuxedo and I put on an evening gown, it could not be I could not be tight anywhere near my gut ever. Because if there's food, it immediately goes boing. And then people are like, is there something you want to tell us?
Yeah.
No, there's not. I'm not pregnant. I just look it. Yes. Just the way it goes. So don't ever ask me to a gala.
I never get invited to them. So
I don't either.
Yeah.
I don't really like dressing up though. And I can't wear high heels anymore because my toe's jacked. So, like, how many really snazzy outfits look great with flats? You're like, ooh, I love your shoes. At least I'm not wearing orthopedics yet. Brock's all hurt. He's 50 now, and he's got a bum leg. He's like,
No, I'm not complaining.
I didn't say you were complaining.
Oh.
I'm watching you, though. He's like, I'm fine. I'm off the oxy. I'm like, what?
I only took one to take the edge off for the last 5 days. That's it. Just took the edge off.
I love your hat.
That's because my hair is too long because someone made an appointment that I couldn't make.
You're the one who needed new tires, not me. Right? If you had planned accordingly and not waited until the last minute.
Well,
it wouldn't have
ordered
conflicted.
On Friday. They didn't get them in until the following Wednesday.
Nevertheless, the problem was yours, not mine. So.
Well, no, you had to cancel the original, which I could have made.
Why did I have to cancel the original?
You were going out of town.
Oh, damn me. God. That soccer tournament stuff that we parents have to do with our children.
Well,
how
if you're going to make,
frivolous,
if you're,
how thoughtless.
if I can't have an excuse,
pal. Is there more than one barber in the world? Is there more than one clipper? I don't know. Is there somebody else with scissors who could help you out? I don't know. Maybe. Or do you just like that the company pays for it? Kind of like everything else. Am I wrong? I didn't say I was the company. I said the company. People, what is our Rumble? That is horrible.
maybe the company should buy some Rumble.
3.17. Go back to the Wendy Bell radio program. I got to tell you, you know, I think I have such a visceral reaction to the white college educated liberal women who are out there running around just being such jerks, right? Because I look like them, right? I look like them. I associate my appearance. We look alike, right? White college educated. I'm not liberal, but I am a woman. How does the rest of Black America feel about people being put in positions to no doubt fail because of their gender or their race, who then go on and do terrible things, get caught, make excuses, and then drop the N-word card? Say, what are you talking about, Wendy? Well, redstate.com, headline, Fani Willis has an epic meltdown as she's grilled by a Georgia Senate committee about her case against President Trump, right? So all of this was supposed to be about making Donald Trump unelectable. All these indictments, these 4 criminal cases, blah, blah, blah. None of them have stuck. None of the awards are going to actually happen. It's all voodoo, hocus pocus, kabuki theater, mumbo jumbo, right? But what they have exposed is that a lot of dirty people have been given power who never should have had it. And it's a slap in the face to minorities who actually are talented, right? There are plenty of people out there with law degrees who would be phenomenal as a district attorney, better than this cat. And yet consistently what we see, Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, are you choosing all the wrong people or what? Well, she's not very happy that she was asked by the Senate committee yesterday. We'd like you to explain to us, in what world is it possible for somebody to work well beyond full-time in a work week? Brock, what's a typical work week for most workers? What do you think it is? It's usually
40 hours.
About 40 hours. Overtime, maybe.
Maybe you're doing 60.
Maybe. So that's a lot of work, right? So how much would you have to work if it was 140 hours? Because that's what she was paying Nathan Wade, right? Her lover.
Well, if he was working 7 days a week, wouldn't that be 20 hours a day?
Well, it would be 20 hours a day. He would only be taking 1 hour a day essentially off for a little bow chicka bow bow. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't need to give you the image there. Anyway, she's paying the dude 140 hours a week. which is clearly garbage, right? And so the Senate committee is like, yeah, about that. We'd love to know what on God's green earth, why on earth you were paying him 140. That's not physically possible. It's like President Trump being peed on by hookers in an Obama bed. I mean, like, it's so stupid. It's like him having sex with E. Jean Carroll. It's beyond the realm. Supermodel E. Jean Carroll. I don't know. I'm really going to go with her. Right? In no world does this happen. 140 hours a week she was paying him. Okay. So she starts to get super defensive, and I have to play this for you because it's flippin' hilarious. She starts to get, when people start getting that attitude, like, and she's like doing her finger wag and her fake eyelashes and the acrylic nails, Jasmine Crockett, right? And she starts getting like, he did so much. He worked so hard. So I decided to pay him for 4 times more than the average person would ever. I mean, it's so stupid. He was getting paid and they were taking trips. Enough said, right? Is everybody on the same page? Didn't they go to St. Croix? They went to St. Croix. They traveled. They went to the Bahamas. They went all these places. Well, however did you do that on your civil servant salary? Well, I paid him 4 times more than I should have. So here's the Senate committee that's asking these questions, right? I'll give you the backstory. Things have not been going well for Fulton County DA Fani Willis. When we visited the Willis saga last, the election case against Donald Trump had been officially dropped. And that was after Willis had already been disqualified from the case last year. Yeah, she's sucking some wind. While Trump got a big win, Willis still faced trouble. She was finally forced to face some questions from a Georgia State Senate committee over her actions in the case. She was not a happy camper as she was grilled by the committee Wednesday. Among the questions they explored was how much Nathan Wade, the man whom she made a special he's a divorce attorney, right? Interesting, because he was banging her while married to his wife, right? And she has to defend the payment, right? The man whom she made a special prosecutor in the case and had a relationship with, how much he had been paid. This is one of multiple meltdowns, which shows low IQ individuals given positions that they're not qualified for, right? It never ends well. Let's listen in and hear how she defends herself.
Screen. I don't review those documents, so you're asking me to look at documents that I haven't for the first time. What I can tell you is that I only allowed Mr. Wade to bill 160 hours a week, and then Mr. Wade would be the first one in the office making sure that my staff arrived. He corrected their behavior. They thought that 8:30 meant 8:30. He taught them that 8:30 means 7:45. He got there before them. He left after him. He taught them how to do this case, and he was a leader to that team and a public servant. And for that, him like me has been threatened thousands of times. You want something to investigate as a legislature? Investigate how many times they've called me the N-word. Why don't you investigate that? Why don't you investigate them writing on my house? Why don't you investigate the fact that my house has been swatted? If you want something to do with your time that makes sense, and you can use all this in your campaign ad, you attacked Fani Willis. What have you done, sir? Nothing.
So I'm going to refer you to the screen. I know you said you don't approve.
I don't look at this. I've never
bills.
seen it, so I can't talk to you about documents I don't approve and don't review. Can't talk to you about it.
Who does approve the documents in your office when invoices come in?
I thought we'd been through this.
I don't believe you said who reviews the invoices and approves the invoices in your office.
First of all, I have no first-hand knowledge of it.
You have no first-hand knowledge.
You want me to testify about something I don't have any first-hand knowledge of?
I'm asking.
That's what you get when you corner an angry black woman. Right? I'm going to get in your face and I'm going to tell you all these things. Why did I pay Nathan Wade 4 times more than anybody else got paid? He showed up. Oh, wow. He showed up and he made people show up. Wow. He sounds like a really remarkable. He stayed late. Huh. Is that so? So you allowed him to bill for 160 hours of work a week? How much time was pillow talk, Fani? How dare you ask me these questions? Do you know how many times my life has been threatened? You know how many times they call me the N-word? I mean, do people do that? Honest to God. Really? So death threats and the N-word. Huh. This is called sheer Panic at the Disco. The woman knows that she is so bad. She needs to be disbarred. She needs to be blocked from any environment in which law is the basis, right? And she's not done. So she allowed him to bill for 168 hours a week, which is 4 times the average work week, because he taught the employees in the DA's office how to work. So here she says, here is the entitlement. Here is the black woman entitlement in this position that shows you how woke BS destroys business and culture and law. Listen.
Was there a lead on your transition team?
I was the lead. I was the DA.
Okay. Was there another person that you consulted with more than the others?
No.
I believe Mr. Wade said under testimony that he was a part of over 90% of these meetings or decisions. Do you recall that being an approximate accurate statement as to his involvement?
I can't speak to any other person's testimony, so I'm not going to ever comment on someone's testimony. If he testified to such, you're going to need to show it to me. You'll have to forgive me. I don't really trust you. So I'll have to see that particular testimony.
Do you recall Mr. Wade being...
Well, wait just a minute. She's got a right to finish her answer. You don't have a right to cut her off.
That's incorrect, Governor. Thank you.
Sir. It is
I'll be completing answers, though, sir. So
sure.
We should get that straight from the...
Was Mr. Wade part of, would you say, more than half of the interviews that you conducted?
Yes.
Would you say it was more than 75% of the interviews?
I'm not going to guess at numbers. He was definitely more than half.
And what percentage of decisions, was the same percentage of decisions that he was a part of?
I ultimately made every decision. I take wise counsel from a group of people. So I took wise counsel from him. I took wise counsel from Deputy Bond. Ultimately, I made the decision on who stayed and who went.
Was Mr. Wade paid for this transition work?
None of them were paid. It was all volunteer work.
I don't really trust you, she says. Isn't that the same thing that Ilhan Omar said when Wolf Blitzer asked her about ICE debunking her story, that ICE agents basically racially profiled her son and pulled him over? And when Wolf was like, ICE has no record of that, she's like, well, I don't really trust them. They're known to lie. Do you hear the pattern? You are not allowed to question me. I am a minority and I am a woman, which gives me a double card on you. And I'm going to play them on the table here, right? But what's really going on, as everybody in the room knows, she's cornered and there is no way out. And the only defense that she has is the one that she's grown up with. Whatever you do, make sure, as guilty as you are, that you're always the victim. Now, I would say that would be a threat to democracy, wouldn't you? When we come back on the Wendy Bell Radio program, a master class in poking the bear. Did you see what the White House did? They've got the presidential portraits. They got the Joe Biden auto pen as the portrait, right? Well, they've added a little nuance to it, a little zhuzh, a few plaques with some interesting biographical information. You're going to love it. Next on the Wendy Bell Radio Network. Isn't that so off-putting? Right?
I like that there's 160 hours in a work week or in a week.
168.
168.
168.
He really...
I'm telling you, he was amazing.
He was.
He must have been taking Alpha Gold Mail.
It must have been. And, you know, maybe he was billing her for the pillow talk. Is that legal? Not really sure if when you're laying there going, how you doing? Oh, by the way,
that's another 50.
Yeah. I was good for 3.5 minutes. I got to bill you for 6.
Pillow talk is up there as gross to me as playing footsie. That I'm like, that's up there with moist. Not things I'm a fan of. Okay. Just think about
Didn't
it.
Fanny have to rush to court one day and came with her dress on backwards? Like she had it on, like someone did a thing saying, "This is the dress, this is her in that dress," and it was backwards, like the zipper was up here.
He was like, hurry up, honey. Let me get you in this. And she was like,
I'm trying to squeeze you in 12 minutes.
I got the first 3 covered. Oh my God. That's not very friendly. We're not very nice. Stop it. But I mean, honestly, if you were a black woman and you were a lawyer or you were a prosecutor or what have you, and you saw that, you'd be like, seriously? This is why I'm embarrassed for the white college educated liberal chicks. I'm embarrassed for you.
I pity them.
I do. I pity you. I pity you. And I'm like, there's so much promise there, and you've squandered it. You've shut the door on it forever.
Having relations with her, though, would have to be like combat pay. And maybe that's what the number came to be like. Normal work
Combat pay
is like $100 an hour. Pillow talk, $3.54 an hour. And not broken down to 6 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was combat pay.
I just wanted you to hear that because that's the thing. The racism card, he called me the N-word. Do you know how many thousands of times I was called that? And you're like, you realize that that's statistically impossible. Just your math isn't mathing the same way 160 hours a week isn't mathing. You guys went too far with your phony baloney garbage. You got lazy with your cover up. You got greedy with your grifts, right? And then when you get caught and somebody
With your
calls you
dress on
out,
backwards.
it has nothing to do with you being black. Your corruption has nothing to do with your ovaries. It has nothing to do with your skin color. It's that you suck. So stop trying to play the cards that you've obviously been playing for a long time. Because we're done with it. You suck. You're caught. End of story. Next. Right? You mean to tell me there's not somebody out there who's a female, a black woman, who could have actually not sucked in that position? Come on. Whatever. They choose all the wrong people. This is a great story. I love it. Let's see. 3.28. Wow.
Lure by day, gigolo by night.
How you doing?
I wonder if he's on Pornhub's premium site.
I wonder if she wears her eyelashes while they're doing it.
Are you winking at me?
No, I just got it stuck. Remember when I did that? And I was like, oh, stuck. All right, let's see what we got. Poor Fawny. Say it right.
Actually, poor Nathan Wade.
Wow.
Step your game up, brother.
Wow, that's
do better.
Toxic
do better.
101. Program. Look, nothing pisses off somebody who's suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, like President Trump having a good time. Anytime a Republican is laughing or we're having fun and we're joking about how ridiculous everything is, right? It is the ultimate kick in the pants to the left, which is brilliant. And I think that's exactly what Trump and team are doing. We're just going to sprinkle on some stuff on you guys and allow you to just sort of sit there and simmer in your own sauce. White House installs plaques under presidential portraits on the White House Walk of Fame, roasting Biden and Obama, by far the worst president in American history. Let's go. I can't wait. All right, so you imagine, and the way I've seen it, it seems like this is an outside wall. I could be totally off here, but where I've seen this is, it's like you're walking into the White House complex and there is this wall leading you in, and on the wall are all of these portraits, and they're in these really pretty gilded frames because it is the golden age. And Donald Trump has certainly zhuzhed up the Oval Office. Everything is in 24 karat gold, right? except Joe Biden's auto pen picture for his presidency. He got something from like Michael's Arts and Crafts that's, off the shelf in a black frame, and it's a picture of the auto pen. But this is what he's doing. President Trump unleashed a new addition to the Presidential Walk of Fame in the White House Rose Garden, where portraits of all 47 U.S. presidents are displayed. Trump famously replaced the picture of Joe Biden with the auto pen, taking a jab at the 46th president for not actually running the White House, but you know as well as I, ceding his power to those around him who took illegal executive actions with the Biden signature affixed by a robotic signature machine. Well, reporters in the White House noticed this morning some newly placed plaques under the photographs, which gave a Trump White House crafted biography of the president. Biden and Obama, both predecessors of Trump, of course, got completely obliterated on their plaques. Where Biden was named Sleepy Joe Biden. Like, it's when you go to a beautiful building and it's got one of those, this is an historic register, this is on the historic registry, blah blah blah, this is a protected, preserved building. It's that kind of plaque. It's like copper with like all of the words in it. Sleepy Joe Biden, and it says by far the worst president in American history. And Obama's middle name, Hussein, was highlighted. Obama was also referred to as one of the most divisive political figures in American history. The White House outlined Biden's stolen election in 2020 and his disastrous record, which, quote, brought our nation to the brink of destruction, including record inflation, mass illegal immigration, the failed Afghanistan withdrawal, and the wars between Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Hamas. It further trolls Biden's severe mental decline. Oh my gosh. His humiliating exit from the 2024 presidential election and his persecution of whites, Christians, and conservatives, including Trump. So this is what Biden's plaque says. Sleepy Joe Biden was by far the worst president in American history, taking office as a result of the most corrupt election ever seen in the United States. Biden oversaw a series of unprecedented disasters that brought our nation to the brink of destruction. His policies caused the highest inflation ever recorded, leading the U.S. dollar to lose more than 20% of its value in 4 years. His Green New scam surrendered American energy dominance, and by abolishing the southern border, Biden let 21 million people from all over the world pour into the United States, including from prisons, jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. His Afghanistan disaster was among the most humiliating events in American history and resulted in the murder of 13 brave American service members, with many others gravely wounded. Seeing Biden's devastating weakness, Russia invaded Ukraine and Hamas terrorists launched the heinous October 7th attack on Israel. Nicknamed both Sleepy and Crooked, Joe Biden was dominated by his radical left handlers. They and their allies in the fake news media attempted to cover up his severe mental decline and his unprecedented use of the auto pen. Following his humiliating debate loss to President Trump in the big June 2024 debate, he was forced to withdraw from his campaign for re-election in disgrace. Biden weaponized law enforcement against his political opponent while also persecuting many other innocent people. He left office issuing blanket pardons to radical Democrat criminals and thugs, as well as members of the Biden crime family. But despite it all, President Trump would get reelected in a landslide and save America. Oh my goodness. Was that the best? That was the best.
It was factual, too.
It was factual, succinct, and now completely emblazoned in copper. I love it. Anyway, who says you can't fix America and enjoy the time doing it? Thanks for being a part of the Wendy Bell radio program. Can't wait to start Friday with you tomorrow. Have a great day. Peace.